Don't reach across people's plates. Keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare. Don't use foul language. Don't call people names. But do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird, too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds. And most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
we rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to grads of life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time. It's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs. So I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face.
and posting on their feed. They're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. Feedthepig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape? You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
Break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? When a tornado is tearing through town? Or a hurricane strikes? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Jets defensive lineman Salman Thomas says that Aaron Rodgers is like the Michael Jordan and the Kobe Bryants of the basketball football world. Bears tight end Mercedes Lewis says that Caleb Williams is just as good as a prime Aaron Rodgers. And Dan Orlovsky again says Dak Prescott is not a top 5 NFC quarterback. And much, much more here on a new show of the Sports Loudmouth. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the players $300 million. You better be sure that that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely lost on calling plays. Maybe he's a therapist. Did you see Lamar Jackson cry to the rest? No, he didn't. We are back on a very, very warm, hot day. 96 degrees, over 102. I have no idea how we're living through this weather. I can't stand the heat. As you see me in, very short sleeve. What would we call this? A wife beater, a tank top. But it's a very, very hot day. It's about 72 degrees in the studio. No matter how much air conditioning that we have here in the studios, we cannot put it on live in the studio because it would take all the condensing mics and drag the sound. So it is a very, very hot day. I hope everybody had a very, very good day before we've been on. I mean, it's been since Tuesday, but very, very happy to be here. Speedy, what's going on? But before I invite you to come on, you can call us at 631-672-3108 and go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including The Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey, every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all our local listings for all our websites is go to our website. All our shows. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Now, Speedy, you could speak.
All right. Well, two things I got to get to. First, happy anniversary shout out to our friend Anthony LaRocco. Him and his wife celebrating their 9th anniversary today.
Happy anniversary to you.
That's our favorite.
Happy anniversary to you. Oh, please don't sing.
I didn't think anniversaries had a special song like that.
You're
but
going to
yes.
scare me away. I don't even want to sing anymore.
But
I'm done. I'm going to be a mute tonight.
Yes, a shout out to our favorite Islander fan, Anthony LaRocco. Happy anniversary to him and his wife, and 9th anniversary. And secondly, as I did last week, Wes has a CFL play that has to get on before 8:30. He has BC on the road against Winnipeg, covering -3.5 tonight. That game will start at 8:30.
All right, so you can win some money. How's that sound, Speedy?
Yes. Wes is not sure if he's able to make it tonight, so he just wanted to send that out. He has some other CFL plays when we do Let's Parlay later. Chaz will be on as well as Reno Johnny for that later.
How wonderful. And we have a very wonderful show lined up for you guys. But again, people, blast your air conditioning. And by the way, if your electric goes up, just reach out to Speedy, and Speedy will help you out with those payments.
No, I will not.
Why not?
I will be the last one to
You're a
help you with
multi-billionaire.
mechanical stuff.
You're a multi-billionaire. What do you mean mechanical? You have billions of dollars.
No, I don't.
You can.
I do not have billions of dollars.
I
don't know what lottery you think I won. Whatever scam I was involved in, it wasn't that.
Are you robbing banks?
Why would I reveal it?
Could you imagine
if I was a bank robber,
robbing a bank?
If I was a bank robber, why would I reveal it on live radio that I was a bank robber?
Well, I can help you. Behavior. Yes, that was disturbing behavior. That sound was disturbing behavior. But Speedy, I could see you as a bank robber.
Again, if I was, why would I reveal that?
I'm revealing it right now. For all the fans that are trying to find out who robbed that bank about 1.5 years ago in, where was it? Salem, Massachusetts. It was the great Speedy Petey. I mean, Lord Jesus Christ
And
himself.
you were in Salem, Massachusetts more recently than I was, because I know you go during Halloween.
I do. I go every Halloween, but I mean, maybe you came with me. Maybe you were.
I would know if I came with you.
Well, I don't know if you knew what you were coming with. But anyways, we have a great show lined up for you at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking to ex-Phillies. Tigers relief pitcher Daniel Stumpf. He's going to be joining. Right? I got it right? Mm-hmm. And then at 8:30, we'll be talking to ex-8-year MLB infielder and current NESN Red Sox studio analyst Deven Marrero. Marrero. I'm sorry. He played for Miami. I remember that.
Yes.
But Marrero, and he's actually doing really, really well right now. He said he wanted to be an analyst, and now he's working with the MLB. I've seen him on the MLB network. He's been all over the place. So we're looking forward to getting Deven on the show. I know he's a very busy guy. I think he's engaged now. So I'm not sure if he's.
He didn't
married.
specify that to me, so maybe you could ask him.
Well, I think he is. I check out his Instagram all the time, but Deven Marrero, he will be joining us a little bit later in the show. So first things first, why not get into the New York Jets? Because the Jets are always the talk of the town. I did get a chance to watch all of Hard Knocks, and we will get into that a little bit later about the Giants. My thoughts in obviously episode 3, 4, and 5, because I had a chance to watch all 3 episodes today. So very interesting, to say the least. So we will get into that. Jets defensive lineman Solomon Thomas said, playing with Aaron Rodgers is like playing with Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Thomas added that how Rodgers makes adjustments at the line of scrimmage is crazy and the best he's ever seen. Fox Sports' Nick Wright says he agrees with Thomas on these comments, but because he thinks all 3 players were similar at these points of their careers. He compared Rodgers and Kobe after tearing his Achilles and Michael Jordan when he was a bullet. Wright has previously called LeBron James the greatest basketball player ever and Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers is or was in his prime. You know, a lot to get into with Nick Wright because my thoughts on Nick Wright is, you know, I wouldn't say nasty, but a little out there. I mean, his thoughts when it comes to his attacks to Michael Jordan. And again, it's not even attacks. It's just his thoughts. And I don't know how many times Nick Wright had a chance to watch Michael Jordan play, but I think he's blind. But that's just my opinion. The whole Solomon Thomas situation is, Solomon Thomas is one of the, I would say, underrated defensive players last year for the New York Jets. The Jets brought him in last year in free agency. He was a first-round draft pick, a top 7 draft pick by San Francisco. Really didn't amount to anything in San Francisco, except when Robert Saleh was there. Robert Saleh became the head coach of the New York Jets about 3 years ago, and one of the first moves that he did in the last 2 years was bring Solomon Thomas in from the San Francisco 49ers that knows his defense and actually can help him teach the defense to all the players, all the defensive players on the New York Jets. Solomon Thomas coming out and saying that Aaron Rodgers is like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant isn't crazy. It isn't. The only thing crazy about that is Kobe Bryant wasn't Michael Jordan. Aaron Rodgers is like Michael Jordan. He's different. He was unique. Aaron Rodgers, we have never seen a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, just like I don't think we've ever seen a player until Kobe Bryant like Michael Jordan. We still haven't seen a player like Aaron Rodgers yet. I know everybody wants to compare Patrick Mahomes to Aaron Rodgers. They're two different players. They really are. Now, Aaron Rodgers obviously has the arm strength like a Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes is very good in and out of the pocket, but he is not as accurate as Aaron Rodgers is. Aaron Rodgers is the most accurate quarterback ever. If you look at his numbers, they would show you that. Now, that doesn't mean that Patrick Mahomes isn't accurate. He's one of the top 10 accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's not as accurate as Aaron Rodgers. Now, obviously, Patrick Mahomes has done more in such a young time as a starting quarterback, as a star quarterback in the NFL, but he also plays under Andy Reid. Andy Reid, to me, redefined who he really was and really is as a head coach when he went to the Kansas City Chiefs, because his career with the Philadelphia Eagles would have been championship competitive if he could just get over the hump with Donovan McNabb. And I am not taking shots at Donovan McNabb because I'm a great big fan of Donovan McNabb. I followed Donovan McNabb coming from Syracuse, coming to the NFL throughout his career. I love Donovan McNabb, but he is no Patrick Mahomes. But Solomon Thomas stating how great he is at the line of scrimmage. We all know how good Aaron Rodgers at the line of scrimmage is. We all know that he loves the audible plays at the line of scrimmage. We also know that he is one of the best at bootlegging plays at the line of scrimmage. Probably the best we've ever seen. But again, when you're trying to compare a football player to a basketball player, they're not really similar. I think, obviously, the quarterback position is harder to play than a star basketball player at a shooting guard position or a point guard position. Now, you would compare a point guard to a quarterback. Michael Jordan was not a point guard. He was a shooting guard. He was a 2. But again, the greatness is what he is trying to compare, obviously, Aaron Rodgers to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And we saw greatness every time Michael and Kobe stepped on the court. Now, Aaron Rodgers still has to prove himself as a New York Jet. He still has not proven enough to say that he is anywhere close to what Michael Jordan was when he came back and played with the Bullets. Michael Jordan, before he hurt his knee, he was on his way to taking that Bullets team that was no question a playoff team early in that season to the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers has not done that with the Jets. The Jets have not even come close to the playoffs in the last 3 seasons with Robert Saleh. He has a chance this year. Probably the most talented team we've seen the Jets have in over 15, maybe even 20 years. Better than those Rex Ryan years when they went to back-to-back AFC title games. I think we've seen a team this good in the 90s, the late 90s, with Vinny Testaverde. I would say that was the last time with Bill Parcells where I could compare this team. Now, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a better, more talented quarterback than Vinny Testaverde and Chad Pennington was. So I can't really compare any of those quarterbacks. But that whole team, that team in the 90s that Bill Parcells built at the end of the 90s was a fantastic team. Losing against the Broncos in the AFC title game was something I don't want to remember. But again, was it the AFC title game or was it semis? It might have been the semis. I'm not positive, but it was an opportunity for the Jets to really go to a Super Bowl that year. But again, I want to see more of Aaron Rodgers. I want to see him take control of this team. He has not taken control of the Garrett Wilson thing. I don't even know. Now, obviously, I've seen videos of Aaron Rodgers doing dances with Quincy Williams. That's great. He knows how to dance. He knows how to have fun on the field. He knows how to play basketball because I saw him shooting baskets with a bunch of Jets. That's great. And he's working very, very well and very, very hard with some of these young players that he wants to build a good rapport with. Michael Jordan wasn't friendly. Michael Jordan was a cold-hearted snake. When he stepped on a court, nobody liked him. Not the players that he played with, not the players he played against. But I want to see Aaron Rodgers get that hungry again. I want to see Aaron Rodgers take this team to that next level. I want to see Aaron Rodgers put this team on his shoulders, not with Davante Adams, not with the players that we've seen in the past, with the Jordy Nelsons. I want to see him do it with the Garrett Wilsons, with the Mike Williams, with the guys that he has on this roster. I don't want to hear about Davante Adams anymore. I don't want to hear about this guy and that guy that the Jets could bring in free agency or if they're waived. I want to see this team take off this year early in the season. I want them to go 3 or 4-0 before they have to play the middle of the beginning of the schedule where it gets a little bit more tougher. I don't care what Solomon Thomas has to say because Solomon Thomas isn't an important piece. Now, everybody wants to kiss his ass. I'm not going to kiss Aaron Rodgers' ass. And there's only one ring I'm going to kiss, and that was the ring that he won in 2010. He doesn't have multiple rings. He's not. I repeat, he's not when it comes to having all those, gold rings and the opportunities of gold trophies like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has a chance to win his 4th. You heard it. His 4th Super Bowl in what? 7-8 years of his career. So he's won. If he wins this year, that's 3 in a row, and that would be his 4th. The 4th championship in 8 years. Am I wrong, Speedy?
So 7 years he's been a starter, and then the 8 years because he sat the 1 year. Yeah, that would be like the most insane pace anyone's had to start a career.
It really is. You look at guys like Tom Brady, who's won 7. Tom Brady won 7 in 20-something years, 25 years.
But there was like a big gap for a decade where the Patriots didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so this is a chance where you're going to see something you might never see again. But, again, is Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes comparable? No. Do I think right now, in the prime of his career, Patrick Mahomes is better than Aaron Rodgers? I would say that he is. As of right now, he is. But the comparison to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is a little outlandish. I disagree. And now to get to Nick Wright, because my thoughts to Nick Wright is just absolutely bogus. First of all, to compare the Achilles tear to Aaron Rodgers and Kobe Bryant is ridiculous. And Michael Jordan coming back and playing with the Bullets, that's ridiculous too. There's no comparison to any of those. Kobe Bryant, when he came back from his Achilles, he was done. Aaron Rodgers is not even close to done. If Aaron Rodgers wants to play for 2 or 3 more years, it's not going to be because of his torn Achilles. It's going to be because of his arm, okay? So Aaron Rodgers, I expect, has a good 2, maybe 3 years left unless he throws out his arm. So that is uncomparable. Now, to go to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan coming back and playing for the Bullets. Michael Jordan was away from basketball for what, 3, 4 years before he came back? Aaron Rodgers has been away from football for 1 year because of a torn Achilles. So to compare him to Michael Jordan and his comeback is ridiculous.
Yep. How about you compare him to your boy LeBron James, who's starting to show signs of being older now, and Aaron Rodgers. We have to see in a sample, but even in the 2022 season, the year before, he showed signs of being older, but still being good. But yeah, you don't want to do that because you love LeBron James so much.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you look at greatness of both players, all three players at what they did for their sports, yeah, I would say that you can compare them in certain ways. But to say that Kobe Bryant coming back from his Achilles and Michael Jordan coming back from Chicago in retirement makes absolutely no sense. There is no comparability. Now, his thoughts to LeBron James being better than Michael Jordan is even more ridiculous. Because as good as LeBron is, and I think he's the second greatest basketball player of all time, there's no question that he is, and he's probably going to have every single record because he's played and his longevity, and because the game has changed in his favor, he will have more records and more broken records than anybody can count. But does that make him Michael Jordan or better than Michael Jordan? Not a chance in hell. Because Michael Jordan never went to a Game 7. Michael Jordan was a cold-blooded killer on a basketball court. LeBron James has went to 8 straight finals. How many championships did he win in those 8 straight finals? 2? 3? I mean, Michael Jordan, if he went to 8 straight finals, he wins all 8 of them. There is no comparison. Now, Michael Jordan played in a time where basketball was more defensively minded because you could put your hands on somebody. You can press on them, and they're not going to go to the foul line. You could throw them all over the place, and there's no flagrant fouls. Now, if you put a pinky or an index finger or a thumb on somebody and you do it the wrong way, ask Draymond Green, it's a flagrant foul. It's a different game. To compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan is ridiculous, and it shows you that Nick Wright really didn't pay attention to basketball when he was a kid.
Well, and he's still stuck with LeBron being the GOAT for a while. Meanwhile, you don't want to downplay the fact that
How
he
old
got
is
hurt.
Nick Wright? He's got to be my age.
I was going to say, he probably is he's probably within 3 years either way of your age, I would imagine. Because I remember when he first came in, he looked really young, like 5-6 years ago when I first remembered him. And like he was
39.
He's 39. Yep. All right. So give it, say 3 years.
He's 39 years old. Nick Wright is 39. I'm 42. And Nick's going to come out and say what he has seen, and he watched Michael Jordan in the prime of his career too. How could he even think to compare them? Now, there's other guys. We've had other guys on the show. You know who I'm talking about.
Robin Lundberg you're talking about?
Yes, who loves to come out and say, and they must be really, really close. They must be on each other's shows because they believe in the same thing. They both love LeBron James. And I'm not saying that LeBron James isn't special. He's the second greatest basketball player I've ever seen. He's better than Magic. He's better than Larry. He's better than Wilt. He's better than any of those guys. Bill Russell, Frank DeBuscher, or any of those guys. Oscar Robertson, whoever you want to put in your top 10, top 15. Kobe Bryant, any one of them. I would put LeBron James second greatest basketball player to ever play the game. But to compare him to Michael Jordan is ridiculous. This is why and probably one of the only things I would agree with Stephen A. Smith. It's not even comparable. They can't be compared. First of all, they also play 2 different positions. All right. LeBron can play multiple positions, and Michael Jordan probably could have played multiple positions if he wanted to in the time that he was, because he was probably the most athletic player to ever play at the basketball game in the 90s and the early 80s. He was so athletic. That's why they called him Air Jordan.
Yeah, we were even talking 3 weeks ago about Terrell Owens and like how badly the NFL and the Pro Football Hall of Fame mistreated him. You're not going to downgrade him for being the second greatest receiver of all time when LeBron's had the same level of drama in the NBA. Oh, I'm going to win 1, not 2, but 3, or not 4, whatever that was.
Does anybody believe? And going back to Solomon Thomas, and I'm sure if Aaron Rodgers heard this, he'd probably think he was out of his mind saying this, to even compare him to a Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant, may rest in peace, is very well respected around the sports world for what he's done on and off the court, what he's donated, his time, his daughter passing the way they did in a helicopter. I mean, what he did for the Redeem team. They're 2 different players. They're 2 different sports. So I wouldn't even think that Aaron Rodgers would have liked him being compared to Michael Jordan. He probably gave him a pat on the back, said, thank you for comparing me to the great Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. But there's no comparison. And for Nick Wright to say it too just shows you And I'm not saying Nick Wright's dumb. I just think it's just outlandish. You're an analyst, and you're one of the most known analysts right now on Fox Sports. How could you come out? I wonder what Chris Broussard said about this, because he's on that show. Does he agree with him on this? Because I don't watch that show. And I saw Nick Wright at the summit a couple of months ago, and I told Nick, I want you to come on the show. I would love to argue with you on the comparison of Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And by the way, after we're done with this, I'm going to make sure that you be sitting in your seat and huffing and puffing, because you're not going to be able to gain breath on what you were saying about Michael Jordan's comparison or LeBron James' comparison to Michael Jordan, because there's no comparison to both players.
In addition to being like two different sports as well, they were all different types of players. Now, Kobe Bryant was an intimidator, Michael Jordan was an intimidator, and Aaron Rodgers in certain stretches of his career was definitely like that as well. But at the same time, like, I think it's
what did he intimidate? Who did he intimidate? Tom Brady? He couldn't beat Tom Brady. As a matter of fact, how many times does Aaron Rodgers meet Tom Brady in the playoffs and lost? I think he was 0-2 against Tom Brady in the playoffs.
I think they only played once. So
I think it was twice.
Because they never played in the Super Bowl because the Packers kept losing in the NFC Championship.
They played when he played with Green Bay. They played, and Tom Brady was playing for Tampa. I think he played
the
twice.
first year. That was the only year they played, because the Packers
I'm not talking about the playoffs. I'm talking about the regular season.
Okay.
They played twice, and Aaron Rodgers lost. Actually, they played more than that in a regular season. I think Tom Brady lost one game against Aaron Rodgers, or 2 games against Aaron Rodgers. The record, if you look that up right now, I don't know the record. I bet you Tom Brady has a better record than against Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't really compare Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or even LeBron James in this conversation. But it's just ridiculous for somebody. And Solomon Thomas is a young guy. He never saw Michael Jordan play. He never saw it. Solomon Thomas is what, 27, 28 years old. When Michael Jordan was at the prime of his career, he wasn't even born. He wasn't even thought of. He was 2 years old. He never even saw Michael Jordan play.
Yeah.
He wasn't even alive when the Dream Team was around.
Thank you, Scoop. So he's 3-2. Brady is ahead of Rodgers all time.
Yeah. So again, you look at Aaron Rodgers and comparing him to Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. That's a little crazy. And again, Nick Wright agreeing to that is a little crazy too. But Nick Wright, I've watched his show a couple of times. Some of his outlandish takes on not just even LeBron James and Michael Jordan or any of that stuff. Some of his crazy takes about the Jets, saying that the Jets, I think he was one of the guys that said that this trade could be one of the worst trades in NFL history if Aaron Rodgers doesn't produce this coming year. I think he said that on his show too. He agreed with Dan Orlovsky, which I think is so crazy, because there are a lot of bad trades, not just with the Jets, the Browns with Deshaun Watson.
That's the worst I've seen.
I mean, there's a lot of them. If you look back to Russell Wilson with the Broncos, we said that the other day. There are a ton of them. How could you say that this is the worst trade when the Jets just traded a second-round draft pick for him?
The Vikings,
there's nothing bad about it.
The Vikings literally traded in 2016 after Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. They traded a first-round pick to the Eagles to get Sam Bradford. The Jets only traded one more extra draft pick to get a conditional second-round pick that would have turned into a first if Rodgers was healthy for Aaron Rodgers. Come on, you can't actually say that that's the worst trade in NFL history.
And again, I wouldn't even bring Patrick Mahomes in any of those conversations. If you want to compare Patrick Mahomes, the only person I would compare Patrick Mahomes to right now, if he wins another Super Bowl, is Joe Montana. That's the guy. Because Joe Montana, in how many years, won 4 Super Bowls? I think it was like
8, I believe.
8 years he won 4 Super Bowls. He's the only guy that I would compare Patrick Mahomes to. And that's not a tax to Michael Jordan. The only reason I won't compare him to Michael Jordan, because they're 2 different sports. Sure. That's the only reason why. Do I think Michael Jordan was a better athlete than Patrick Mahomes is? Absolutely. Of course. I think Michael Jordan's the greatest athlete I've ever seen. I know people will argue that. Michael Phelps, and now even Simone Biles for what she has done so far. And she's the oldest Olympic gold medal winner in the gymnastics. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's special. It's great to watch. Even look at Serena Williams and what she's done in the tennis world, or even Jokic, all these other guys. Not Joker, Djokovic from tennis, and what he's doing, breaking Roger Federer's record last year. So, I mean, there's a lot of great things to talk about when it comes to sports. And even now, seeing the transition of each game and the growth of each game, even in golf right now, seeing some of these young golf players really take over the game in the sport. To compare a player, first of all, in different sports, it's there's no comparison. And to compare greatness to another player isn't comparable because it's different. It's a different decade. So even Steve Young, or I'm sorry, Joe Montana, or even Steve Young, in their great times of their career, could you compare them to Patrick Mahomes? The game was different then. There was no free agency at that time, and no trading. I mean, that started later in the mid 90s, early 90s.
And the Broncos, I think, got caught with the first of those salary cap violations.
I think it was 89 when trade started to happen.
Something like that. And then I think the actual salary cap system was implemented in the mid 90s.
Yes.
And the Broncos, I think in 96 were the first team to get caught with it, cheating with it, tampering with the salary cap, and they won a Super Bowl because of that. And then they won another Super Bowl after that.
It's hard to compare decades. It's hard to compare greatness and players in their great sports. But again, everybody's trying to find something to talk about right now because there's nothing to talk about. There's baseball and there's the Olympics. So everybody's trying to cause, some kind of stir up when it comes to each sport and the comparison of who these players are and what they've become. Rodgers is a great player. Until Rodgers shows me that he produces for the New York Jets, to me, I can't even look at him and try to compare what he has done in his career to anybody in any sport and any time, because he's got one Super Bowl and everybody else that's really been considered the greatest of all time has won multiple. So he needs to win another Super Bowl, and he's got to win it with the Jets, where he can prove himself to be compared to some of those great quarterbacks that I just mentioned. And he's not. Patrick Mahomes, if he never wins a Super Bowl again and has a great career, rest of his career, all the way through, he will be compared to some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time because he's already won 4 of them.
And he did it as well. Patrick Mahomes did it. The Chiefs were very similar, where they had a long playoff drought where they didn't win a playoff game up until from 1991, I think, when Montana was there, or 93 when Montana was there, until 2016. He took the pressure of that and instantly, first year got to the AFC Championship game and then won a Super Bowl. And talent-wise, you're already seeing him just be there with Aaron Rodgers and maybe even more. And Aaron Rodgers, where Nick Wright is getting at, the accuracy metrics that Aaron Rodgers still has is still the best in NFL history, touchdown interception ratio-wise. Now, Mahomes, I think, is a little more like in terms of the traits, maybe a little more, but not by much. And all these quarterbacks now that are being drafted, their traits are even getting higher than that.
Aaron Rodgers is the most accurate quarterback to ever step on a football field. And I don't know if anybody will even come close to those accurate numbers in his time with the Green Bay Packers. I don't know. And we'll see if he's as accurate as he was with the Green Bay Packers with the New York Jets if he plays a full season. So if he is, the Jets are going to have a good season. He's going to throw over 36 or 40 touchdowns, and the Jets are going to be a Super Bowl contender if that happens. So that's how good Aaron Rodgers is when it comes to his accuracy. But he also had Devontae Adams. Is Garrett Wilson Devontae Adams? Right now, it doesn't look like they're working on the same line right now. They're not agreeing to things. There's arguments right now on a football field. We have to see if they can get along on a field. We never seen those problems with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. So there's a lot of questions with the New York Jets. But again, going back to Solomon Thomas, yeah, I could see that you could see greatness in what he could do at the line of scrimmage. There's not many guys better than him. Jordan Love had a chance to see him play for 3 years and learned a lot from him. You saw him at the line of scrimmage this year, changing plays at an audible and getting people off sides. Where do you think he learned that? He learned that from Aaron Rodgers. So your opportunity, and Patrick Mahomes too, over the last couple of years has been one of the more good quarterbacks at the line of scrimmage, calling plays at the line of scrimmage and getting people to come off sides. How did he learn it? Aaron Rodgers. So the high counts and all that other stuff. Who was really good this past year? C.J. Stroud was really good at that this year too. Calling plays at the line of scrimmage and getting people off sides. Another player that he learned from, Aaron Rodgers. So again, people are going to learn from greatness, just like Kobe learned it from Michael, and just like LeBron learned it from Michael Jordan. Why do you think LeBron wears the number 23? He wears the number 23, and a lot of NBA players wear the number 23 because of their love fest for Michael Jordan. That's why. Those are the facts. And he can say whatever he wants, LeBron. Oh, I love the number 23. Why do you love the number 23? Oh, yeah. Why do you love the number 23? Because your favorite player growing up was Michael Jordan. And don't tell me it wasn't, because I watched that movie. I watched the documentary of LeBron James over there in Ohio. And how many posters did he have of Michael Jordan in his little room? He had a ton of them. So to say that he wasn't a Michael Jordan fan is crazy. Now, if his wife thinks he's the greatest of all time, his sons, his family, or even his teammates think that he's the greatest of all time, shame on you, because even Kobe Bryant, the late great Kobe Bryant, who loved LeBron and thought very highly of LeBron, said that the greatest player of all time is not even a question, Michael Jordan. And he wouldn't even put himself, Kobe wouldn't even put himself in the top 5. That shows you what type of person Kobe Bryant was. And it shows you what type of person LeBron James is when it comes to him and putting himself over the great Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to get at too, with the level of drama that both LeBron has caused at certain points in his career and Aaron Rodgers has caused at certain points in his career. That's why the comparison for Solomon Thomas
that might be the only closest.
Kobe didn't do that kind of thing as much the same way, where he was, I'm not going to say he was completely humble. He was still intimidating. He was still loud, but he didn't cause the same level of offseason drama that those two
If you want to
caused.
compare LeBron James to Aaron Rodgers, even though they're two separate sports, and I don't like comparing players to different sports, they're more comparable than Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. And the one reason why is Aaron Rodgers loves to speak, loves to talk about stupid things on and off the football field. What does LeBron James do? He does the same thing. Talks about politics, talks about sneakers, talks about this, talks about race. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is the same thing. How many people he's talked about, sexuality? He's
the COVID vaccine.
COVID vaccine. Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James are more comparable than Aaron Rodgers is to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So if Nick Wright came up with something like that, the great Nick Wright came up with something like that, I would agree with him.
But he won't do that because he loves LeBron too much.
No, and nobody. And again, Robin Lombard too. Lombard, he's another one that loves LeBron James. For some reason, will never throw LeBron James under the rug. And I believe it or not, his game, LeBron James's game, I loved it. I love watching LeBron play. I love his game, the power game, getting to the hole, drawing fouls, dominating, passing, using the whole court to his advantage. Yeah, probably the most athletic basketball player I've ever seen. Okay, he is. But to say that you can compare Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant to Aaron Rodgers, or even Solomon Thomas saying the same thing. Solomon, if you watch LeBron James and you know what LeBron James does on and off the court, that would be more comparable to Aaron Rodgers and the craziness, what he does on and off the football field. Because Aaron's great. There's maybe 2 other players that you can compare him to in history. The same thing with LeBron James. There might be 2, maybe even 1 player you can compare him to in history. But you can compare each other in separate sports to what they do on and off the court because of what they say, how many times they open their mouths, and how many times they get themselves into trouble when they open their mouths.
Comment from James on YouTube. I was about to say that Aaron Rodgers is the man when it comes to the free play. Yes, he's the best in NFL I've ever seen in the NFL when it comes to drawing guys off sides. Yes, no doubt.
No, he is. LeBron James, the same thing. LeBron James is one of the best, and I'll say this again, one of the best taking over certain games when he needs to, defensively and offensively. If you remember the championship that they won with the Cavaliers, it wasn't he didn't score the winning shot. He hit the winning foul shots. But what he did is he defensively dominated the game in the fourth quarter. When he needed to stop guys like Iguodala and block him off the board and make the big block and the big defensive play, he did that. And the same thing I could say about other players in the past and their dominance too. I think LeBron James and the comparison to LeBron James is more comparable to the Aaron Rodgers than the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants. I would compare Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan together because they play the same way. And if I were to compare a football player to Michael Jordan, it would be Tom Brady. It would be Tom Brady. And the reason why? Because of his dominance when he went to the Super Bowl. He only lost, 3 Super Bowls out of 10 times? Michael Jordan never lost. But to win Super Bowls, it's harder than winning NBA championships, even when Michael Jordan was dominant.
And they still went to 8 straight AFC championships.
I think Tom Brady is the most comparable football player to Michael Jordan. And not because of his athletic ability, because Michael Jordan was more athletic than Tom Brady, but the type of emotional player that Michael Jordan was and the emotional player Tom Brady was on and off the court. Players did not like Tom Brady, okay? On and off the court. Nobody liked Michael Jordan either because they were all about winning. They were all about team. That's what they were all about. If I don't have the guys around me, I can't win. It only works if I'm on the court and I have those specialty players like the Scottie Pippens, like the Horace Grants, like the Bill Cartwrights and the Steve Kerrs and the John Paxtons. And the same thing with Tom Brady for the years of his dominance. Oh, yeah. He had different guys, different defensive players like Will Fork, offensive linemen like he had, or even offensive players like Randy Moss and running backs, Corey Dillon, all these different running backs he had when he won those Super Bowls. I think that's more comparable to Tom Brady and Michael Jordan than Aaron Rodgers to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And I would think Aaron Rodgers and LeBron are more comparable to each other than any one of those guys as well. So just the thought of Nick Wright even bringing up these guys in the same conversation makes no sense. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
He's got to protect his boy LeBron. So,
and I don't even think that had anything to do with it. They're trying to find something to talk about. Sure. And this is a conversation that's going to draw traction. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It just makes more a comparable sense when you bring up Tom Brady to Michael Jordan and Aaron Rodgers to LeBron James. Then you have an argument if you want to compare guys that played in different decades and different sports. So that's just my opinion. It really is. Speedy, you have any thoughts to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, you look at the factors that what they brought to each sport as well. Like, I think it's just a little different, the style of players. Each of them were not even just traits with the individual sport, but the level of drama, the level of intimidation. I think it's just all different with everybody.
Different players, different personalities. Yeah. And again, Aaron Rodgers and LeBron are more personality driven than Michael Jordan didn't like to be in the limelight. Michael Jordan didn't like to speak in the limelight. He was very quiet. He wasn't political like LeBron James is. And the same thing with Tom Brady. Tom Brady never went out. The only time he ever said or done anything was when I think it was Donald Trump when he first ran, where a lot of people came out that he was supporting Donald Trump, but he never even went out there and spoke about it. It just came out that him and Bill Belichick were behind Donald Trump because they were Trump supporters. But you never heard Tom Brady go out and talk about politics or any of those things because Tom Brady, all he cared about was winning and talking about football, not talking about anything that was going on in his life, his family, or even the documentary that they had on Tom Brady, like they did, him kissing his son. He didn't like that because everybody wanted to, throw him under the bus on the crazy stuff that was happening on that whole document. By the way, that was a great documentary. It really was. On First Take today, Dan Orlovsky said that Dak Prescott is not a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. He listed his top 5 quarterbacks: Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff. He also left Jalen Hurts off the addition to Dak Prescott, who was the MVP finalist in 2022. Orlovsky also called the Cowboys the cheapest franchise in all of sports after not being able to sign CeeDee Lamb. He says that the Cowboys are settling for relevancy and being a mediocre team rather than being remembered. The Cowboys are one of the 5 teams that have not made a conference championship game in the 21st century. Let me tell you something about Dan Orlovsky. How many playoffs did you play in? How many footballs did you throw in the playoffs? The answer, 0. 0. And to say that Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott isn't a top 5 quarterback right now in the NFC is absolutely ridiculous. Brock Purdy, we saw what the real Brock Purdy was. We saw what he was in the playoffs, especially in the Super Bowl, where he got outplayed by a better quarterback. The pressure was too much for him. The Super Bowl was too much for him. That's the facts. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo looked better than he did in the Super Bowl. He made some mistakes, but Jimmy Garoppolo looked better than Brock Purdy did in the Super Bowl when they went to the Super Bowl and lost against Kansas City. Brock Purdy did not look good in that Super Bowl. Did not. So Brock Purdy, as good as he was for the last, I would say, year and a half a season and a full season, I do not believe he's a top 5 quarterback right now in the NFC. Now, Jordan Love. Jordan Love had a sensational year last year, especially in the second half. He was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL last year in the second half. And he was sensational in the playoffs. He proved that he can be a star quarterback in the playoffs for the Green Bay Packers. But guess what? That was his rookie season as a starting quarterback. His first full season as a star quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. And it took him half a season to figure it out. How the hell is Jordan Love on a top 5 quarterback list in the NFC? He's not better than Jalen Hurts. He wasn't even an MVP candidate last year. As good as he was, he wasn't an MVP candidate. He never played in a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, yeah, he's not good in the playoffs. Dak Prescott's been a top 5 quarterback in all of the NFL, statistically, for the last 5 years. For the last 5 years. Dak Prescott's been there. Now, is he a winner? He's not a winner. How many quarterbacks are winners? That's the question. Kirk Cousins is not a winner in the playoffs. Well, go look at his record. I think he has 1 win or 2 wins in the playoffs.
1 win.
But he's on Olofsky's list. And I'm not saying Kirk Cousins isn't a top 5 quarterback this year in the NFC. He is. I think he is. He's done enough. He's proven enough. He's had a bunch of 4,000-yard seasons. And as far as statistics would show you, that he is. Jared Goff has been proven 2 years in a row that he is one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFC. And right now with that team, I would say he's going to have another year unless some catastrophic, crazy injuries happen. I just don't see it. I think Jared Goff will be a top quarterback in the NFC. Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl and has been elite since he's been a Lion. So I would put him there too. Those 3, definitely. Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, and Jared Goff. Dak Prescott is on that list, baby.
Yeah.
He is on that list. And for Dan Orlovsky to take shots, I don't know what's going on with the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. But I do believe they're going to have to pay up. They're going to pay up CeeDee Lamb. One way or another, CeeDee Lamb is going to make his $140, $135 million contract. He's going to be the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. You watch it, it'll happen one way or another. And Dak Prescott too. And to say that they're cheap, why? Let me ask you a question. If they're so cheap, why are they over the salary cap? Let me ask you that question, Dan. It makes no sense. How are they so cheap when the Cowboys have the highest salaries right now in the NFL? It doesn't make sense. None of it does. It doesn't. To say they're the cheapest team and they're settling, they're not settling. I'm just saying it. You're looking at this team, Jimmy Jones. I'm sorry, Jimmy Jones. I'm sorry, Jerry Jones. I'm thinking about Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. Jerry Jones is an owner right now that's trying to get this team under the cap where they can go out, pay their players, and maybe bring players in to come and play in the future. That's the problem right now. They have 3 guys, and Micah Parsons that's going to want big money, CeeDee Lamb that's going to want big money, and Dak Prescott. All 3 positions are 3 of the most important positions in the NFL. Quarterback, which is the most. Wide receiver, which is probably the 3rd most. And then getting a defensive lineman that can get at the quarterback, that's probably the 4th. So the top 4 positions, 3 out of the top 4 positions, you got to pay them big mucho dinero, and you got to figure out how you're going to divvy it out. So how are you going to do that and pay CeeDee Lamb what he wants? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And the Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. In the NFL. To say he's not a top 5 quarterback in the NFC is ridiculous. Jalen Hurts didn't have a great year. He didn't. I'm going to admit it. He didn't have a good year last year. Maybe because of the team, the coaching, something happened in that locker room. It didn't work. It just didn't work. But 1 year, he had a bad off year. And by the way, his off year wasn't that bad. He still threw, 3,600 yards. I don't know what his numbers are.
His passing volume wasn't as high as 2022, but his rushing numbers were still very good. And his efficiency was still not bad until the end of the season when pretty much everybody on the Eagles fell apart.
Jalen Hurts last year threw 3,858 yards, which is almost 4,000 yards.
Right.
He had 23 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating was an 89.1, almost 90%. Mm-hmm. He's as efficient as any quarter. He's as efficient as Patrick Mahomes. So how does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Like, you're putting quarterbacks that have much less of a sample in there over Jalen Hurts, which has had Maybe his first year he wasn't great the whole year, but his second half was very good. Dak Prescott, who's
Patrick Mahomes. I just want, before you have something to say, because it really irks me. He had 4,183 yards last year. He was runner-up for the MVP, right? Patrick Mahomes was?
No, not
he was third.
Not last year. Yeah, he was third.
He was third. He was a runner-up.
Dak was second, yeah.
Yeah, so he was third runner-up. He had 4,183 yards, 27 touchdowns, and a 92.6 quarterback rating. How different? I mean, they're almost identical.
Yeah.
The numbers are almost identical. How could you not put Jalen Hurts as a top 5 quarterback in the NFC? Dan, what are you talking about? What are you munching? Whatever you're munching, go talk to your wife.
Yeah, again, you're judging on samples.
I'd like to know what you're munching. I got to reach out to your wife.
If you ever reach out to Dan Orlovsky's wife, you could do that. It'll be probably more likely.
Hot,
it'll probably be more likely than Nathan reaching out to Matt Leinert's wife like he wanted to. But
true.
Nevertheless, you're judging 2 quarterbacks in Jordan Love and Brock Purdy. They're judging a much more smaller sample. Now, I still like Brock Purdy. I like the upside of what he's brought, and a lot of his individual advanced stats have been pretty good. But at the same time, you're judging it on a year and
his wife's pretty hot.
4 starts in 2022, and last year he played very well, considering he was dealing with all the arm injuries that he was dealing with at the beginning of the year. But Dak Prescott, since Mike McCarthy's taken over as head coach, has been a top 5 quarterback for 3 years in a row. His first year wasn't great in the COVID year, but after that, 3 years in a row, he's been a top 5 quarterback. Jalen Hurts, 2.5 years, he's been a top 10 quarterback and much better than any of the quarterbacks you listed. Jordan Love had a great second half this year. His consistency sample was not very good as his numbers overall were. So
he's not.
I'm not going to put him in there either.
He's not a top 5 quarterback yet. Maybe next year, if he does it back-to-back years, he puts up the same numbers as he did last year. Yeah, Jordan Love's the top NFC quarterback. There's no question. To put him right there, even Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is not a top 5 quarterback right now in the NFC. I'm sorry, he's not. He has the best defense. Last year, they had the 3rd best defense in the league or 2nd best defense in the league. He had weapons all over galore. Yeah, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Ayuk, and all the other guys that they had, the running backs. Who's calling up?
It's Keith.
All right, Keith. Let's put Keith through. Keith, what's up?
Keith, you're on.
All right. Let's get right into it. Let me ask you a question, Errol.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you questioned how many touchdown passes Dan threw and games won. How many have you thrown?
None. I'm not.
What does that have to do with anything?
What does that have anything to do with what he is saying?
What I'm saying is, why can't he say whatever?
Because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You're going to tell me right now.
Wait a second. I'm not saying what he said. Why can't he say what he said?
Because it's ridiculous.
It doesn't matter how many quarterbacks, how many touchdown passes he threw, or interceptions, or wins. That has nothing to do with anything.
First of all, how do you compare one quarterback to the other?
That's not what I'm saying.
Let me ask you, how do you compare one quarterback to the other? Success, right? Success. That's how you compare them. Numbers and what they do in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, but Dan's not putting himself in the top 5.
He's putting, right now, he put Jordan Love and Brock Purdy. Jordan Love, who had 1 full season.
Again, you're not answering the question. What does it have to do with how many his career stats? If you can talk about it, you never played. I never played. Well, Speedy, you might have played a year or 2 for the Steelers, I think.
Because this is a show, Keith, and my argument here is you're not going to put Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, who have been better quarterbacks in 3 or 4 years, to quarterbacks that barely played a full 2 years. How do you put...
Jordan Love is definitely a top 5 quarterback.
Jordan Love is not a top 5 quarterback.
Absolutely.
He's done it 1 year. He's done it one year.
So what?
Yeah, so what? Jalen Hurts has done it 3 years. And Dak Prescott's done it 5.
Last year was Jordan Love one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC.
No, only in the second half, not in the full season. No, he wasn't.
What? Oh, stop! Altogether, his total, what?
Dak Prescott. Where was he in the MVP voting?
I don't give a shit about
Where was Dak Prescott? Where was he in the MVP voting? Where was he in the MVP voting? Who cares?
Where was he in the playoffs?
Where was Jordan Love? Did Jordan Love go to the NFC title game?
Did Jordan
Love go to the NFC title game? Did he ever go to the NFC title game?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. How do you put Jordan Love after 1 year into top 5?
You know, he's got a certain, he hates certain players. Speedy, let me ask you something. Do you think, and that I'm not asking for years, last year was Jordan Love a top 5, just NFC quarterback? Was he one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the NFC? And if not, ask Fish.
Okay, in the NFC last year, yeah, he was, but at the same time,
Okay,
it was a half-year sample mainly. It wasn't very
It wasn't
consistent.
a half-year sample. In the full year, he was a top 5 quarterback.
Okay,
he had an amazing second, and he had a
second half he was the best quarterback in the NFL. Yes, I know, but I'm saying in terms of a full year.
But it's still, Errol, you still haven't answered my point. I'm saying whether you, hey, listen, say I disagree with Dan too. I'm not saying I agree with everything he said. What I'm saying is it has nothing to do with what kind of quarterback he was and making picks. You know? That's all.
Again.
Again, it has nothing to do with it. You didn't play.
Fine, whatever.
So how
Fine.
can you make picks?
I'm bringing up
That's
Dan
what I'm
Orlovsky.
saying.
How could Dan Orlovsky talk about the quarterback play and what he saw last year when you're comparing two other quarterbacks to two quarterbacks that have been more successful? Please.
Because that's how he feels.
All
He's
right.
making an
All
opinion. It's nothing's facts.
All right. Here.
None of these are
All right.
facts.
I got.
You say it like-
I'm going to
wait,
say.
you-
I'm going to say this. All right. Nothing's facts. Speedy's a better quarterback than Dan Orlovsky. That's what I think. I think Speedy is a better
And you know
quarterback
what?
than Dan Orlovsky.
Me too. So you're right.
There you go. So Dan Orlovsky, who
You're
played
not
in the
getting
NFL.
the point, Errol.
I got the point.
No, you didn't.
Keith, what do you think? I'm stupid? I'm not hearing you out? It doesn't matter. He's saying right now, his list of the top 5 quarterbacks going into this year is Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff. That's what he's saying. Am I not
wouldn't
getting...
put maybe Kirk Cousins. I don't like that.
Kirk Cousins
Maybe.
is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. He is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he
Than
is.
Love.
Okay, we'll see.
Purdy, maybe.
We'll see.
And you know
We'll
what?
see.
You can't stand Purdy. You know what? You know that. You have not liked him. You always said, and that's okay. Your opinion. And he might not be a great quarterback, but don't act like he choked and he felt the pressure.
He
the
did.
kid's in his second year, number one. He went to the fucking Super Bowl where everybody said, oh, he's not a top quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback, including you.
And you think it was because of Purdy on why they went to the Super Bowl?
No, I didn't say that. It's a team game. Nothing's because of
Really? Because for years, everybody was saying, Tom Brady, the GOAT. Here's the
Who?
reason why. Yeah, everybody
Who?
says that. Tom Brady. You want me to comment here? Tom Brady.
Do you believe that? Though?
No,
you don't
I
believe
don't.
That.
No, I don't. But everybody else did. Everybody else said Tom
Well,
Brady. Tom
again,
Brady.
that has
Tom
nothing
Brady.
to do with anything.
What do you mean it has nothing to do with anything? What are you
That
talking
has
about?
nothing to do with anything.
You just
I don't care what everybody else says. I'm saying, why can't Dan give his opinion?
Because it's a dumb opinion. It's a dumb opinion.
And your opinion is dumb.
Maybe it is. But it's a dumb. And maybe he has something to say about my
might
opinion.
be. And Errol, you could be right. What I'm saying is, I don't agree with everything he said. What I'm saying is it has nothing to do with what kind of quarterback he was. And that's what you said. Well, you started talking about his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wasn't saying he was.
Why
the
am
top
I
five
going to take?
quarterback.
Why am I going to take an opinion from a guy that wasn't a great quarterback in the NFL?
Oh, why shouldn't someone take an opinion from a guy who never played quarterback like yourself? That doesn't make sense, Errol.
What are you talking about?
And you can give your opinion. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying you're wrong about that. It doesn't matter
Listen,
what kind
I
of
can
quarterback
attack
he was.
anything
That's
Dan
all.
Orlovsky has to say. All right, I can attack everything that he says, and I am going to attack what he did.
You're attacking the type of player he was.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
am,
I'm
and I have every right to do that. I have every
You have
right to
every
do
right,
that.
but it's not a point. It's not making a point. It makes no sense.
It doesn't have to make a point. I'm just
You just
talking.
don't like him, so you talked about how he played.
I think he's a dope.
It's like saying, yeah, I know. Let's think of a shitty quarterback. Okay, Wilson from the Jets.
Yeah,
last year.
let's look at Dan Orlovsky's career record.
It doesn't matter.
26 games, 2-10.
It doesn't
58.2 completion percentage, 3,132 yards, 15
And that
touchdowns
has
to
nothing
13
to do with
interceptions.
anything. Hey, Errol.
He's
You know that
fantastic.
some of Errol, am I right about this? In sports, a lot of the greatest coaches are guys, or the most knowledgeable guys, are guys who weren't the top players. You know that. Michael
Yeah.
Jordan's a horrendous owner.
I know.
Horrendous.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yes.
All I'm saying is it doesn't matter. I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with you. I'm just saying that it doesn't matter.
I'm just
what kind of
saying I'm
quarterback
not
you are.
going
That's
to.
all.
Oh, fine. That's your opinion. And you have every
It's
right
not an
for it.
opinion. It's a fact.
Why
can't you?
I'm
give
not
your
going to
opinion?
take
That's like him saying
because I'm
oh,
not
you
going to
never
take.
played.
If it was
Errol.
if it was Tom Brady saying that, I would understand. It's Tom Brady saying
Fuck
it.
Tom Brady.
I'm just
That doesn't
saying,
mean he
if
does-
Tom Brady's giving me his top 5 NFC quarterbacks and he puts Brock Purdy there and Jordan Love, I would say, okay, it's Tom Brady. I can't argue with him. Dan Orlovsky, I've got an argument to it. I've got an
Why
argument.
can't you argue with Tom Brady? Because he was a great player.
Because he's the greatest. Because he knows the quarterback position better than Dan Orlovsky does. How the hell would he know?
No, he doesn't. He was a much better quarterback and talented. That doesn't mean he knows the position better or can judge the player better. And I'm not. Of course, Brady probably does, but it's not because of the player he was. Michael Jordan's a terrible judge of talent. Terrible, and he was great. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's your boy. You know that, my North Carolina.
Well,
boy.
he wasn't my boy. I hated him.
No, he was my
I'm
boy.
a Knicks fan.
But what I'm saying is, and so that's an example of what I'm saying. Jordan was one of the top players ever, and not the top, maybe. But he he's a terrible judge of talent. You know that.
Yeah. There's a lot of them like that.
Just goes. So why does that make Tom Brady automatically a great judge of talent? Which, and he very well could be, he probably is, but we don't know that. It's opinion.
I'm taking
it like it's fact.
My argument. I didn't say that my attack to Dan Orlovsky isn't fact. It's my opinion. So I didn't say fact. I said my opinion.
Agree.
My opinion of Dan Orlovsky is I'm not taking his thoughts real. I don't take
that. No, I understand that. I'm just saying that would be like him saying to us or anybody, well, you motherfuckers never played the game. Who the hell are you to judge? You didn't even make the NFL. You didn't even make a high school team.
Yes, I did.
What?
I played on the high school team.
Okay, but I'm not.
I'm just saying. You said I didn't play on high school.
No, I'll give an example. I'm not talking to you.
All right.
I did not know that, Errol.
Yeah, I did. 2 years, man.
Now, did you play in the school baseball team?
Yes, I did.
I definitely didn't know that.
10th
I
grade.
used to go watch the games. I don't remember you playing.
10th grade, yeah. I played JV.
Who was on the team then? Oh, you played JV?
Yes, JV. And I played with Mike Singer, what's his name?
Was Frisco in the coach then?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
I'm trying to think when he came in.
Sirigliano. I'm so bad with names.
Okay.
Mike Sirigliano. I played baseball with Mike Sirigliano.
Oh, you played with him. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember him.
You don't know Mike Sirigliano?
No, when I was, because I used to help coach baseball and basketball, but when I was there, well, you never heard of it. George Ulrich was the coach.
Uh-huh.
And he was great. And then, actually, I think my cat played for him, so that's how old he was, a little bit. But and then
Sirigliano was one of the better baseball players in the school. He had to choose between baseball and football.
And lacrosse?
And football. Because
I know who you.
Yeah.
Yes, I do know.
Riggs was the starting quarterback for the varsity team. So.
All right. Let's go on to another subject, if you don't mind, guys.
We have a guest. We
have a guest. Why don't you call back after our guest?
I'll call back.
All right.
I want to talk about some hoops.
All right. Let's do it.
All
right, Keith. Thanks for calling. So Keith will call back a little bit later. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I know he's been waiting. We will be talking to former Phillies and Tigers relief pitcher Daniel Stumpf. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
All right. That is correct. It is the top of the hour, and I am Tommy Scoops to bringing you all the Loudmouth Sports Minute. And jumping straight into some NFL, the Titans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins is set to miss 4 to 6 weeks. The veteran wide receiver suffered a knee injury in today's practice, but the team is highly optimistic that Hopkins will be ready for a season opener. While in other news, Giants co-owner does not regret Daniel Jones' contract. New York's co-owner John Mara said today that he stands firm on the decision to re-sign QB Daniel Jones, even saying the team wasn't blocking for Jones and wants to give him a better offensive line to work with for the future. Lastly, over in the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers are set to unveil the second Kobe Bryant statue this Friday. After unveiling the first statue honoring the late Lakers legend Kobe Bryant, Lakers will reveal a new statue honoring him and his daughter Gianna Bryant, with the third statue on the way later this season. Now it's time for Scoops to Scores. We're over in the MLB right now. The Guardians have a 5-2 lead over the Orioles at the bottom of the 5th, with the Royals having a 4-1 lead over the Tigers heading into the bottom of the 7th, and the Braves have a 3-0 lead over the Marlins in the top of the 3rd. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. I'm going to kick it back to the boys for their next guest on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Willy Whoppers, Speedy! Willy Whoppers! You don't like powder? It's good for both.
Let's go burn a bush in a crab. God.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy. Petey, go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Before we introduced our guests, the United States right now leads the tally of medals right now at the Olympics. 9 golds, 15 silvers, 13 bronzes for a full total of 37 medals. And right behind them is France. They're in France. So 8 golds, 11 silvers, and 8 bronzes for 27. So if you guys are keeping the tallies right now, China's right behind them with 24. So it's crazy. It's going to be fun. We still have a lot of Olympics left. I think another week and a half. So get ready for it. We'll see some track and field. We're seeing swimming right now. So it's a lot of crazy things. But this guy is looking forward to joining us. We haven't had him on for a while, and we're very happy to have him on. We are now talking to former Phillies and Tigers relief pitcher, Daniel Stumpf. Daniel, what's up?
What's happening, fellas? How y'all doing? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, man. You sound good. You hear us?
I can hear y'all.
Well, we're happy to have you on. I don't remember the last time you were on. It was a while ago.
This is the first time he's been on our show. We've had a couple of his teammates on in the past.
There you go. So
we've had
the first time on our show.
We've had a lot of ex-Tigers. We had Shane Green.
I thought you said he was on our show.
No, we had Shane Green on last year, and then we had Buck Farmer on earlier this year.
You know what it is Speedy. I asked Speedy, who do we have on the show? And I think he told me we had you on the show. And we have had hundreds and hundreds of ex-athletes and athletes in right now in all different sports, professional sports and minor league sports. So it's hard to remember everybody, but we're very happy to have you on. Before we get into it, how are you doing? How's the family life right now that your career is over in the MLB?
Man, it's good. I got a little boy. He actually turns 5 August 4th. So that's coming up. He is all energy, man. He is all boy, man. He wants to play baseball. He wants to mess with snakes and wants to go fish and, do all the things. So, again, the family life's fun. It's fun with him. And, just kind of being home is a little different from the past, 10 years of love, what we've been doing.
It's funny. You brought up snakes, and guess who's afraid of snakes? Deathly afraid of snakes. Speedy Petey, right over there.
Yes, I did. I've had a fear of snakes since I was 7, and I had to try to keep one out of the house when I was
I don't know
7 years old.
Because that's not for me either. I'm not about the snakes. Look, I hunt, I fish, I do all that. But I tell you what, the snakes are one thing I do not mess with.
Wow.
I'm not afraid of snakes. My cousin actually has a python. So I've held pythons before. I'm not afraid of snakes. I could care less. I've seen snakes all over the place when I've been in the woods. I've seen a rattlesnake when I was in Arizona. I've seen pythons. So I'm not really, I don't want to be next to a king cobra because those things are fast, and good luck trying to run away from one of those things. Those things slide so fast. Good luck. You'll be dead. So I'm not running from a snake. That's for sure. But let's get off the snakes. You played for 2 teams, and one of the teams are one of the best teams right now in the major leagues. Your thoughts to the Philadelphia Phillies season this year?
Man, actually, watching the Phillies the last couple of years, it's been a lot of fun. Seeing a lot of the moves they made. Obviously, I played with Hoskins, when he was in the minor leagues. He was never up there when I got there. But guys like Castellanos, watching that dude just go off the last few years too has been wild. I mean, again, I played with him in Detroit. Again, I came up with Kansas City with Matt Strahm, and he's had a killer year this year. He was an all-star and everything like that. So the Phillies are definitely a fun ball club to watch. And I'll tell you what, being there and those fans too, if that crowd gets you into that game, man, that's definitely for sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the Philadelphia sports culture as a whole. Everyone says it's like, oh, they're the reckless ones. They do all these crazy stuff in the streets all the time. They throw things at players all the time. Did you deal with any of those experiences, especially that first year in 2016 when they weren't the competitive team at the time?
And I'll tell you what, we were playing Miami at Philly, and Yelich came up to bat. It was quiet in the stadium. I gave up a base hit to put them ahead, and I got pulled after that hit. And man, it was dead quiet, and you could hear everybody, Philly fans yelling how much they hate me, how much I suck. And then the next night came in, and then it was Yelich again. It was almost the same scenario, and actually recorded that he was my first strikeout. So I got my first strikeout that night, but yeah, man, they'll turn on you quick, but again, it's all fun in it. I mean, it's in the heat of the moment. They're very, very passionate about their teams. And so, they want you to do good. They want to be behind you. And again, I know that it's a lot of fun in that stadium right now.
We are talking to former Phillies and Tigers relief pitcher Daniel Stumpf. And Daniel, there's a lot of people on this show that have called out the New York Yankee fans, saying that they're the worst fans in all of professional sports, the worst fans in the major leagues. Could you tell us, in all the stadiums you've been in, who were the rowdiest, who were the worst?
Man. So we sat right there in Cleveland. So Cleveland, you sit right there in front of a lot of fans. Chicago playing the White Sox, you're right there in front of a lot of fans, especially in the bullpen. And so I'm gonna go with the White Sox guys, man. They right there, especially in that bullpen area, you're right there. And so they don't have a problem, saying whatever they want to say. So that's who I'm going with. I'm going with the White Sox fans.
Wow. Never heard about the White Sox fans. I hear about the Red Sox fans. I hear about the Yankee fans. I hear sometimes about the Philadelphia Philly fans. The White Sox. Wow.
Don't worry. They don't have much to cheer for this year with their 27 wins they have on the season. So I wanted to mention too.
Well, none of the Dodger fans ever show up until inning 5.
Yes. It's funny, Dan. I know you played with him too. We had Shane Green on the show last year, and Errol was saying this was when the Phillies were in the NLCS against the Diamondbacks. And Shane was saying because he loved that team so much that he was saying, "Oh, we're gonna take you there if the Phillies go to the World Series." So they fall apart after that. They blow a 3-2 lead.
Right. Man, I love Greeny. He was a good dude. Played with him a lot in Detroit. We had a lot of fun for sure. But yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I want to ask you about your career in Detroit. You played with one of the guys that's going to be a future Hall of Famer, Justin Verlander, before he got traded as well to the Astros. I think that same season, the first year he was there. So what was he like as a pitcher the time you were in Detroit?
I did. Yeah, I got to play with him in 2017 before shipped off to the Astros. Obviously that year was a lot of fun for me, getting to be up there. Obviously, I'm a Houston guy. Our manager that year was Brad Ausmus. So, growing up, I was always a Houston Astros fan. Like that was who I rooted for, thick and thin, even when they were awful. But again, Ausmus was the manager. And then, you have guys like JV and, Miggy and, we still had Kinsler and Upton and, we had JD Martinez. We had a lot of guys that year. So it was a lot of fun for sure. Ver, he's an animal, different guy for sure between the lines. And, if he does get taken out of that ball game, it's almost like a different level when you're in there on that game because he just sat there and hey, he paved the way. So you got your big guns going. So yeah, he was a lot of fun. And then a lot of success, obviously that next year and everything for him. So a lot of cool things to watch.
There's a lot of good relief pitchers in the game now, but when you were playing, what relief pitcher really stood out? What was the guy that when you saw him pitch, you were like, wow, that guy's absolutely amazing?
Man, dude, I'm gonna go back to the Kansas City days when I was with Kansas City and just Wade Davis. Man, he was different. Watching him pitch, and not only that was one thing that I even other hitters talking to hitters, it was like he was so good at spotting up his like best stuff that he has, to where that's what made him so gross. And so that's who I'm going with, man, is just watching Wade Davis pitch.
I want to ask about you. I didn't realize you were at the Royals. You were first listed on Baseball Reference on the Phillies. So that Royals team that took out my Mets in the World Series too. What was that whole season like? A lot of those experiences you had.
Man, so they drafted me. I was drafted by KC in 12. I was with them till 2015, and then that's when I got Rule 5 with the Phillies. So I was with Kansas City, for half my career. Made it to Double A with them. That's as high as I got with them. But just being a part of that, I backed up a handful of times and stuff in spring training, things like that. But yeah, being a part of that team, that culture that they had there was completely different. All those guys that you don't see it a lot now, all those guys that were in the big leagues on that team that year, they pretty much all came up and were in the minor leagues together the entire time with Kansas City. And you very rarely see that now, where you have these homegrown guys going up and developing all the way from day one to the big leagues. And so again, it was real different for sure with those guys, and it was a lot of fun to watch them play.
Daniel, there's so many good, especially when you were pitching, there were so many batters and hitters that you could smack the ball at the time that, at the time there were guys like Giancarlo Stanton. He was one of the best hitters in baseball. What hitter were you just scared of? What guy that when you were on the mound, you just didn't want to pitch against?
Man, I'm not going to say I was scared of anybody, because I definitely wasn't scared of anybody. But I'll tell you who always got me was Didi. Man, Didi Gregorius always got me. I don't know what it was. I'm not even going to sit there and say that, hey, he got these great hits. I mean, I broke a lot of his bats. But, man, I felt like every time I pitched against him, he got so, yeah, that was, and obviously being lefty-lefty for me, that's a no-go. But yeah, man, it's even some of my best stuff, I mean, it wouldn't matter. He somehow would find a hole. And then obviously after being done playing and stuff, watching him, like how he hits, I mean, his approach, that's who I'm going with for sure. His approach, put the bat on the ball.
So one of the big controversies we've seen in baseball this year has been Tony Clark with the pitch clock and the pitching injuries that we've seen with a lot of big names starting pitching. Do you think the pitch clock is at fault? Do you think there's something else that maybe contributed to all these guys getting hurt, having to get Tommy John surgery?
Man, look, I have never heard anybody take this take on it, but here's my take on the whole pitch clock, the whole pine tar, like rosin, sunscreen stuff. Look, hitters put stuff on their bats to do what? Hold on to the bat and get better grip. Why are we not calling out hitters for getting better grip on stuff? The hitters are bitching at the pitchers for, hey, you're hitting us and stuff like that. Well, look, this helps us grip it just like it helps y'all grip the bat. Like, so that's my thing is like, look, cut it out for everybody then. Let's take all the pine tar off the bats and everything like that. Swing a raw bat. We're throwing a raw ball. And so the pitch clock, I definitely think for sure that has something to do with guys getting hurt and things like that. Absolutely. It's you're rushing something that we're already giving, max effort on a lot of the times, especially look at it as a starter. Those guys are trying to maintain, 6-7 innings, and now you're rushing them. You're rushing them to where now they're having to hurry up. Well, that 6-7 innings is taking a longer toll. And then think of the relievers on that side of things. Look, we're coming in there, we're blowing it out. So now we're blowing it out, and we've got a time limit on that. So that's my take on them.
We are talking to former Phillies and Tigers relief pitcher Daniel Stumpf. Daniel, there's a lot of pitchers, there's a lot of people over the last couple of years that said that the major leagues have been playing with the baseballs. Do you believe that they have made the balls tighter, easier to hit? Do you believe any of that?
Oh, and yeah, there's definitely differences in the balls from when I first debuted in 16 to when I was done in 19, for sure.
Now, what is it? The seams, how small the balls are? Because I remember, I don't remember what pitcher, it was a Yankee pitcher that said that he feels that the ball is even smaller than it was when he came to the major leagues. Was one of the Japanese pitchers for the Yankees. I don't remember who it was, but he said that the seams were a little bit too close and all this other stuff. Do you believe that?
I think the seams were a lot tighter for sure.
Yes.
Because even look at I didn't feel like the minor league balls when I first started, and that was in 2012, that the minor league balls were that far off from the major league balls. And I still have some of those balls in my bags laying around. And it's way, way, way different. Way different. I mean, there's more lace on them and things like that. They're cue balls. And so and that mud doesn't do nothing. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a while about the shift. That was another big rule that was changed last year, which pitchers, sometimes you pitch into the shift strategically. Like, how did you feel about that kind of thing? Did you have to pitch into the shift? And where do you stand now as a neutral with Major League Baseball having it not in the game anymore?
Shift. I'm against the shift completely. Again, I mean, I felt like I got beat a lot on the shift when we did it, when it's like, look, I made my pitch and that dude just poked it down third baseline. Now when it's like, hey, we had easy out there or whatever it may be, I'm against the shift. Let the guys play. Look, you got some of the best infielders behind you. They know what they're doing. Let them play. Like, let them go. And so, yeah, that whole shift rule, again, stop trying to change the game so much. Like, that was.
Well, I will say this, Rob Manfred, everybody knows what I feel about the guy. I think he's the worst commissioner in professional sports. Him, Roger Goodell are probably, and Adam Silver now is starting to drive me crazy because he has the players running the league. And by the way, we are talking to former Phillies and Tigers relief pitcher Daniel Stumpf. You look at where the league is transitioning into, and you look at in 2025-26, we're going to see a new commissioner of baseball. Is there a particular guy that you think would be good for that position to take over for baseball? One, and number two, do you see any future changes that you believe that can affect the game?
Oh man, on that commissioner side of things, I won't comment too much on his. Leave that alone. Because yeah, that's a whole different animal. But as far as who takes it over, man, I think the analytics side of things, as far as who takes it over, needs to kind of be not. I think analytics in baseball is good, but I'm saying like somebody that's just built on analytics. I don't think that's what we need for the game. Again, man, we've got some of the best infielders, outfielders, hitters, pitchers in the world out there. Like, let us play. We've done this for a long time now. The game has been around for a long time.
I got a player that played baseball. He just retired recently that I think would be a great commissioner for baseball. Could you guess the player that I'm thinking?
Just retired
Recently, probably in the last 3 years. Great hitter, Hall of Famer.
Pitcher or no?
Hitter.
Oh God, I have no idea on that.
Albert Pujols.
Okay.
I think Albert Pujols, he's a great, first of all, everybody respects him. All the players respect him. He was a great right-handed hitter. A guy that, everywhere he went, he was looked at as a savant, whatever they call him, and a guy that really changed the game and power hitting for right-handed hitters.
I think
I think he would be great.
I think he's got I think he's got a huge stature, a lot of respect behind his name. Obviously, not only that, I think he brings not only his side of things to the game as being a player, has a ton of knowledge, but he's also, I think, kind of involved in that new Baseball United League.
That's why I mentioned Pujols, because you have to bring in an ex-player. I think the player understands the game and understands where the game is going. And here's the word, savant. That's who Albert Pujols was and what he is to the game of baseball. I think you bring in a guy like that who's not going to look at the executives and be corrupted when it comes to the game. He understands where the game is going. I think he'd be great for the position. And plus, he comes from, the Spanish player. They've really dominated the league. I think he would be perfect. He would be a perfect fit. Everybody would respect him in the league.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing too. It's one of those things where, like, look, you look at guys like Albert Pujols, and then you look at guys like Rob Manfred. I mean, look, you're talking about the game of baseball here. What has Rob Manfred done in baseball besides mess it up? But
that's an average of 6 new rules a year.
I mean, come on. Like, again, like this guy has also come up with rules that not only that they've run guys out of the game. They've taken players out of the game. Again, you're doing things that are affecting that side of things. Like, again, let us play.
So you, speaking of great first baseman, you played with one of them in Detroit. Miguel Cabrera just retired recently as well. So what was he like as a teammate, and what was he like as a player on and off the field?
And I tell you, he was for sure one of my favorite teammates to be with. Biggest kid that be around, most fun. But I'll tell you what, he's serious. Everybody, again, you talk about how everybody would respect Albert Pujols. That is Miguel Cabrera to a T. That is somebody that just walk into the room, and that is somebody that you respect if he talks. You're listening to him because he has so much knowledge. And I mean, again, that dude can do some crazy things with a bat. It's wild. He was so much fun to watch.
As everybody knows, we are talking to former Phillies and Tigers relief pitcher Daniel Stumpf. Last question for me, Dan. You look at the league as a whole, and like I said, you were a pitcher. Is there a pitcher that really has been impressive to you so far this season? And do you believe that pitching is going to change the course even more of the game in the future?
I mean, obviously, you have a lot of pitchers out there doing some crazy things right now. You have Skeens, you have Ohtani. But I mean, I look at some of the things. I mean, Hunter Brown, obviously being a Houston guy, I've gone to a few of the games, and he started off a little slow, but I mean, that dude has just been dominant lately too. And so, yeah, I mean, those types of guys too. The Paul Skeens, the Hunter Browns, like those guys are going to be. Those guys are going to keep paving the way for these pitchers. I mean, those guys are throwing, the Tarkus Skubal, like in Detroit, like that kid is throwing flames right now. And I mean, those guys are going to be, big time guys to keep an eye on for sure in the next few years.
Do you think do you think that these pitchers are, because everybody's trying to find offense in every single sport, they're trying to find the power of the game, and now they're saying that baseball is giving, anytime they're throwing the ball to Aaron Judge, the balls are completely different, which I think is just completely outrageously stupid. Whoever's saying that, and we've had people come on the show and said that, and Ryan Spader being one of them. I love you, Ryan. Ryan, I love you. You're deep into my heart. When Ryan came on the show, he believes that baseball is giving Aaron Judge a different kind of ball so he can smash home runs and break records. I don't believe it. Do you believe that?
I absolutely do not believe that. But I'll tell you this one thing. Like I pitched against Giancarlo Stanton when he was with Miami. And again, those were like his Miami years. Same thing with Yelich. Those were animal years. I pitched against Stanton and I threw him a changeup when I was with Philly. And they told me, hey, look, when he gets in the box, just wait till you see him. And here we go. I look up and I'm like, holy cow, this dude's a monster. I throw a changeup, first pitch to him, and he comes unglued, scared to death. I'm like, if he hit that, it was going down my throat. So, I mean, unglued. Very next pitch, here we go again, changeup. It comes off his bat different. Same thing with Judge. I pitched against Judge. It's the same thing. Look, you got to give those guys credit when it's due. I mean, hitter, pitcher, doesn't matter. Look, it comes off their bat different. Those balls are no different. It's just that's a different person swinging it right there. And
so my last question: favorite moment you've had in your career, and the toughest hitter you struck out, and you're like, wow, I got this guy.
Oh man, favorite moment. Man, I'm gonna have to go with obviously my debut. I mean, it wasn't beautiful, but I mean, again, I did it. I got to be there. My family got to be there, and so yeah, that was definitely probably my favorite moment. Toughest hitter where I was like, man, I got him out. Ooh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that one, to be honest. I mean, like I said, I have those guys like Didi where I'm just like, I mean, I probably one of my favorite guys that I would say pitch against. I wouldn't say that I have one that I'm like, man, I didn't like it, was Brett Gardner. Loved pitching against him. Loved it. Didn't matter to me. Obviously, Detroit, New York, we had our beef going on. I mean, in 2017 or 17, we cleared 3 or 4 times. So, I mean, we had our stuff going on. I mean, but I would get Gardner. It didn't matter. I'd throw him 3-2 sliders. We had, I think, bases loaded one time. I went to him. He looked like a fool from the second it left my hand.
Quickly, before we let you go, buddy, we have Deven Marrero coming on in just a few moments. How many times did you strike him out?
I'm telling you, I was terrible with names. I went up there and I just pitched. I had guys ask me like, "Hey, how would you pitch him?" I'm like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "Dude, you're about to play against him." I'm like, "No idea." Like, well, this guy hits sliders and that's your best pitch. I'm like, "Good luck hitting mine." Like that was my. I mean, again, it's crazy to think about, but that was my mentality for real.
Well, I wanted to stir up something because
I don't have no.
I'm trying to stir up something because I've gotten under other players, skins when they've been on the show, and some of them go back and forth with me when I get them on the show after that. But I really appreciate the time, man. I know you're a busy guy. Say hello to your family. Hopefully we see your son in the major leagues in, the next 15, 16 years. What do you think about that?
That would be awesome for sure. For sure.
Well, again, we really appreciate the time. We'll get you on too, and maybe we could see you on the screen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely didn't plan on all that, but for sure. On and yeah, next time I for sure I'll get that camera going, get y'all in my office with all my stuff up for sure.
Well, you're not as pretty as Deven, probably. That's probably why, right?
Got the pretty kids. That's all that matters.
Oh, man. Thank you, Dan.
I appreciate it, fellas.
Daniel Stumpf, fantastic personality. Really, really good guy. You could tell, obviously is enjoying his time away from baseball. And maybe he'll be a coach or a manager soon and maybe work with kids in the future, with high school kids and get back into baseball in the long run. But I think Albert Pujols would be a great commissioner. We've never spoken about that.
It's funny. If I were to guess that, I would have guessed Yadier Molina. I was thinking the same thing. Okay.
I like Albert Pujols. I think he's first of all, fans love him. He's a great personality. And I think the players and the executives would actually agree with him because he's been a great baseball player. And again, looked at as a superstar everywhere he has gone. And he's won championships except with the Angels, of course, because they could never get over the hump.
They made the playoffs once.
He made some money. I mean, he made some money with the Angels.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Everyone makes money with the Angels. It just amounted to one playoff appearance. Josh Hamilton, CJ Wilson, all these guys make money with the Angels, and Albert Pujols do. And they made playoffs once and won 0 playoff games. They got swept by the team that Dan started with, the Royals.
Well, when we come back, we'll be talking to ex-8-year MLB infielder and current NESN Red Sox studio analyst, as he said he was going to do. He's doing it now. Deven Marrero here on the Sports Loudmouth. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
That is right. I am back for another update. I am Tommy Scoops, as everybody knows, for the Loudmouth Sports Minute. And jumping into some NFL, Seahawks QB Geno Smith is set to get a medical screening. After missing the last 2 team practices with unknown illness, Smith will be medically examined to reveal what is causing him, but likely will miss tomorrow's practice. In other NFL news, the judge has thrown out the $4.7 billion Sunday ticket verdict. Multiple reports say Judge Felipe Gutierrez has overturned verdict against the NFL in the Sunday ticket lawsuit. The decision comes one day after a 3-hour hearing on the NFL's attack on the jury's decision. And lastly, over in the MLB, the Yankees are releasing pitcher Chasen Shreve, as Shreve, who signed with the Yankees in late June, has made 10 appearances for Scranton and will now have to find a new team to pitch for this season. As I get into Scoops' scores over in the MLB, the Guardians have a 7-2 lead over the Orioles at the bottom of the 7th, while at the top of the 9th, the Royals have a 6-1 lead over the Tigers with the Marlins and Braves. Braves have a 4-0 lead over the Marlins at the top of the 5th, and the Cardinals and Cubs are both tied up with 1 run on the board at the bottom of the 2nd. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. Kicking it back to the boys for their next guest on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Are you a meat bender? 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy, Petey, remember you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including The Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out your local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Before we introduce Deven Marrero, I just want to say something. Go to Bovado. Yes, go to our website, Bovado, QR. Hit the QR code right now in the corner right there. Where's the QR code? Somebody's got to put that up. 100% of your deposits. That means if you put $100, you're going to get $200. $200, you'll get $400. $400, you'll get $800. $1,200, you'll get $2,400. So you have a chance, ladies and gentlemen, to double your money if you join Bovado. Bet on almost anything like the presidential election, the Olympics. You can withdraw on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin and gain on that money anyways. But no limitations on what state you are in. You can bet anywhere. All you have to do is click the link right there in the corner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've been waiting to get this guy on. He's a very busy man now. He's very busy, and he said he wanted to be an analyst, and now he is. He's working with the Red Sox. He's doing big things right now in the major leagues. We are now talking to ex-8-year MLB infielder and current NESN Red Sox studio analyst, Deven Marrero. Oh, round of applause. Speedy.
What up, fellas?
Look at that. I mean, we're clapping for you. I mean, you
Love
don't need
it.
no cheering. That's for damn sure.
Love it.
Well, you know what? You have a fiance now, right? Am I right?
Yeah, getting
Look at
married
you.
soon.
Yeah, look at that. You're getting married. No invitation. I'm very upset at you, Deven.
Aaron will DJ your wedding.
I should. I mean, first of all, I DJ a lot of weddings. I do a lot of album release parties. I'm all over the tri-state area. I've gone to Connecticut, New Jersey, all over the place. If you asked me to DJ your party and MC your party, I would have been there, Deven. So
You got the bangers or what?
What happened?
You got the bangers?
Of course, man. You call me Sir Mix-a-Lot, okay? Because I can mix anything.
What's the go-to genre?
I could do anything. You name it. I spin house music, hip hop, and R&B, 90s to early 2000s. I do disco. I've done freestyle. You name it, I can spin it. So I can mix anything. So and I've always been
the after party. You never know.
You just got to reach out to me, man. I'll do your after party. You'll have a lot of fun. I've done a lot of parties. I've done over 7,000 weddings. I'm all over the place. I've traveled all over the world DJing.
Awesome.
So it's fun. I've been doing it since I was 15. I started with records, went to CDs, and now it's like all these young DJs, they think they're DJs. They're like button pushers. I'm not a button pusher. So I don't even use Serato. Deven, I don't even use Serato. For anybody that knows anything about DJing, I use a program called Tractor. I'm one of very few DJs here in New York. It's usually a European style, program that they use over there in Europe. I use it here, and I'm very unique the way I do it. And people make fun of what kind of equipment I use, but my equipment works, and I'm a better blender and mixer right now out there. So I don't care what anybody says.
Love that. Love that.
Well, so why don't we get into it? Because your Red Sox were playing pretty good baseball. They really were. Going into the All-Star break and coming out of the All-Star break, they were one of the hottest teams in baseball. And now they're kind of slowing down, but they're right there. They're 6 or 7 games behind the Yankees. They're right there chasing after Baltimore, and they could be a wild card team. I still believe there could be 3 teams coming out of the American League East in the playoffs. What has been the change really in the second half and late in the first half that's made this team a really good team?
Man, I always told it. I've been telling everybody that All-Star break came at the worst time for the Red Sox because they were rolling. They were rolling through all the good teams. They were beating Philadelphia, the Yankees, the Royals they ran into and beat the series out of them. And I think that break just kind of got them off guard a little bit. And the Yankees, they played the Yankees, which is a good team. And the Yankees stole that series. I mean, when I look at all those games that they played, like the games that they had at Dodger Stadium, they should have won 2 out of 3. It came down to just one pitch in the 9th inning, and both of those were extra inning games. Then the next series, the same thing. They were in all the games. And then this Yankee series, except for that last game, it was kind of like a blowout. But they're in a lot of games, and that's why I think they're going to have they're going to be able to maintain what they've been doing all season, because I think it's important because they could win in so many different ways. You know, they're not like the Yankees who are hot right now because all their hitters are hot. You know what I mean? Like they have speed, they have good defense, and the thing that's hurting them right now is their bullpen, which is a little banged up. But they got some guys in the trade deadline that I think are going to help out a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Lucas Sims, who I always liked with the Cincinnati Reds. Luis Garcia, another one that has had some good years in the past as well. And the starting pitching depth has been very impressive this year with a lot of the youngsters that they've had, even amidst all the injuries. Like, what are your thoughts of the Red Sox finally having like all this homegrown pitching now?
I mean, that's the most important thing, right? I mean, you look at all the great teams that last for a long time and don't just have like 2 good years and they suck for 10 and then 2 good years. They have good minor league organizations. When you have depth in the minor leagues, especially at the AAA level, you're able to replace guys all the time. Because how often do you see a team go like super healthy throughout a year? Like it doesn't exist. That's why the Yankees like have struggled in the past couple of years, because Judge will get hurt for a month, Stanton's hurt for a month, Garrett Cole's hurt for a month, and like they really don't have that minor league system anymore because they traded everybody away for Stanton and all these guys. So having depth in the minor leagues is like the most important thing. Like, that's why the Dodgers are so good, Houston's so good. You know, you see like, oh, who is this guy? And next you know he's like 4-0 in the big leagues. You know what I mean? So it's important to have that depth. And geez, Louise, that ball was touched, huh? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man, that guy. When he gets a hold of that ball, it's gone. You hear it off the bat. And I've been to Yankee games. Every time it comes off his bat, it sounds, you know exactly when it hits the barrel of the bat, if it's gone or it's staying inside. It's unbelievable. It's like a popping sound. It's like it's gone, and you know it. I've been to about 5 Yankee games where Judge has hit multiple home runs in those games. So the guy is unbelievable. He's one of the best hitters I've seen. And really his development as a player. Remember, he didn't get called up in his career until he was like 24, 25 years old. He really didn't develop in the minor leagues until later in the mid of his career. Same thing with Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso didn't call up. He wasn't called up until he was 24, 25. Yep. So these guys, you know, it took them a while to develop into that power hitter. But what makes Aaron Judge so special is that he's a 5-tool player. He hits for average. He hits for power. He can smack the ball anywhere in the field. He could pull the ball. He can do everything. And that's what, and he could defend at any outfield position, center field, left field, right field. If he wants, he could probably play first base or even third base if he really wanted to. He's so athletic. What is the difference between guys like Aaron Judge and everybody else in the league?
I think you nailed it right there, man. I mean, me and him got to the minor leagues the same year. We were both drafted the same year, and we went through the whole Red Sox-Yankee rivalry, but through the minor leagues, and we got to the big leagues the same year, actually. And that's, I think, what is the most impressive thing about him. Like, you knew that he was strong, that he had something special with his strength, but he didn't really put his swing together until, like, that second year in the big leagues, where just that something clicked. He went to Teacher Man, and something just clicked with him. And once that thing clicked, it was game over. Like no one steps on the field with that guy and can compete with that guy on all aspects of the game. I mean, the fact that he's 6'7", 235, and playing 235 center field,
280. He's 280 pounds.
Yeah, the fact that he's playing center field in the big leagues just tells you how much of an athlete this guy is. And what impresses me the most, man, is that he hasn't changed. He's one of the most humble, respected, just good human beings, like in his soul. Like nothing about him is fake. He just loves the game, wants to have fun, and it's cool seeing him get better and better. You know, like he has like these great years, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, he's having a better year than last year. Like, and that's a testament to his mentality and how he approaches the game and what he does in the offseason. You know, he's a special player, man, and he's in a league of his own. I tell everybody he's one of the best to do it in this game. It's super impressive.
We are talking to ex-8-year MLB infielder and a current NESN Red Sox studio analyst, Deven Marrero.
So that's about a guy that came out right at the same time as Judge. It's Rafael Devers, who's turned into a very big Yankee killer, one of the best pure hitters for a lefty, and we've seen in the major leagues. What are your thoughts to him when he came up? Obviously, you know, being a studio analyst, you might have interviewed him a few times. What are your thoughts to Devers the year he's had?
So Devers is the one that came up behind me and took my job. He was like that young prospect that came up behind me. And once he got to the big leagues, I was like, this kid is different. Like the year that he got called up was in 17, when we were making the playoff run to win the division against the Yankees, and they called him up the last month of the season. And he just came out there to the field and was just having fun. And like back then we had Petey, we had David, we had Hanley, we had all these veterans that took the game serious and like knew the amplitude of what was going on for the division. And he just comes in there, just a kid from the Dominican Republic, 18 years old, 19 years old, and was just out there just having fun. And like his heartbeat never changed. And once I saw that, like the moment never really got to him, I was like, this kid is going to be one of the best players to ever wear a Red Sox uniform. And we put his numbers up all the time at Nesson, like compared to all the Dominican and Latin players before the age of 27, and he's up there with Albert Pujols, with Vladdy Guerrero. Like he's up there with a bunch of these guys that are Hall of Famers, and he's on his way to having a Hall of Fame career, and he's definitely going to be a Red Sox Hall of Famer, like no doubt about it.
There's another Red Sox that has been unbelievable this year, and he's been really up and down in his career, but really he's putting it all together, and he was the MVP of the All-Star game, and that's Jarren Duran. What type of player is he this year? I mean, everything has changed. Everything has clicked this year, and he's one of the best outfielders right now in the league. What has been his change in his approach at the plate?
For me, I think the biggest thing for him was Alex Cora coming to that spring training and being like, hey, you're our center fielder. You're going to be our leadoff guy, and you're going to play every game. Don't worry about someone taking your job. Go out there and do your thing. No matter how you play or what you do, you're going to be in that lineup every day. And that kind of put him in like oh man, like I deserve this. Like I deserve to be here. And you just see like his confidence just gain. He had that first good month. The next, he had another good month, and like he just had no signs of slowing down. So like to him, it's like, man, I keep doing these things that are, out of my ability, that he thought like a couple of years ago, he was like a platoon guy, and the Red Sox were kind of booing him out of Fenway a couple games. He was like in a bad place mentally. And I think he's in a better place mentally and has that confidence now that AC has given him, and he's like showed himself, like he said, he got there to the All-Star game. He's like, man, I'm in this room with Aaron Judge and all these Juan Soto and all these guys. And then him winning MVP was like, no, like I belong in this room. Like I'm one of the best players in the game right now, like at my position. You watch him play, man. I don't know if you guys watch him that much, but this guy plays old school baseball. He hustles. I've seen probably 3 stand-up doubles on routine fly balls that guys just miss. Like no matter what the score is, what inning it is, this guy is playing hard. He's just setting that Red Sox culture that we used to have back then with Pedroia and all these guys that just play hard nose. And that's the culture you need in the game right now, especially with all the speed rules and stuff like that, with stolen bases, bigger bases, and the pickoffs. This game is made for players like Duran right now with speed.
So one of the big things that's been happening this year is Jonathan Papelbon and his feud with the Yankees and the Yankee fans. And I think recently he had lost a bet, so he had to change his profile picture on Twitter to a Yankees logo. So have you been following that for much of the year, for what he's been doing?
Yeah, dude. I've been in the studio with him a couple of times, and he's a character and one of the best human beings. And people look at him and see like he just runs his mouth and this and that, and he just has a great personality. But this guy knows the game, man. Like when we sit in the studio and we're off camera and we're talking game, it is like mind blowing how this guy's mind works when it comes to baseball and his approach to the game. And he's one of the great minds of baseball, man. It's cool to have him in the studio and just talk game with him, talk about the game. And he's a great time, dude. You're not going to have a dull moment with that guy in the studio for sure.
I'm sure. Let me tell you something.
Yes,
by the way, we are talking to ex-8-year MLB infielder and current NESN Red Sox studio analyst Deven Marrero, friend of the show, doing big things now. The last time we had him on the show, he says, I'm going to become an analyst. I'm going to be working the MLB. I'll be working for a team very, very soon. And look, he's working for the Red Sox. He played for the Red Sox, and he's friends with Jonathan Papelbon. So I love you, but I'm not a big fan of Jonathan. I don't know him personally. If we ever had him on the show.
You meet that guy will become your best friend.
Really? I don't know, man.
He's one of those guys that, like, if you're a Yankee fan and all this, like, you hate to play against him, but you want that guy on your team. Like, that's the kind of guy he is, man. He's just one of the most amazing. Dude, he is a fun guy, like good, positive energy always, just like a great dude, man. And it's cool to be in the studio with him. And I bet you met him, you'd be like, oh, this guy's the best. Like, he's that's just who he is, dude. He's the man.
You know, it's so funny. I'm all over social media. People attack my takes. They all say I'm a racist. They say all these crazy things, and they say I'm an ass and all this other stuff. And then when they get a chance to speak to me or something like that, they get a chance to meet me. They say, wow, you're actually much cooler than you are on your radio show. I said, I rather be hated than loved. That's why you follow me. That's why you listen to me. Why would I want you to love me? And if you love me, you're not going to listen to me. You're just going to want to be jabbed. And that's what I do. I throw jabs. I think Jonathan Papelbon is just like that. I think he's built a name like that. And there's a lot of players in the past over the years in the MLB that a lot of people didn't hate. I mean, I hate Draymond Green, but I'm sure that if me and Draymond Green actually sat at a dinner table and had a conversation, we'd probably hang out and have a good time. I'll stay away from Snapchat and not take, pictures of my crotch. Something that, Draymond likes to do. So I don't do those things, but everything else, me and Draymond Green probably hit it off when it comes to sports. So we'll go off that. But Deven, you look at the game as a whole, and last time we spoke about it, the transition of the game and where baseball is heading, all these new rules. I mean, the pitch clock, no shifting, which I love that move. I agree with what they did with no more shifting, but really, they thought that it was going to open up the offense of the game. If you look at the offense of the game right now, the numbers are down. It's not anywhere what they thought it was going to be after taking away shifting and all that other stuff. Do you believe there's a reason why? And if you do, what would be the reason why?
Are you watching these guys throw that are coming from the first inning to the ninth? Like, these guys are just getting nastier and nastier, and you can do all the rule changes you want, but when the stuff plays, it plays, man. And the arms that are coming out of it in the big leagues right now are just so special. You have guys that are setup guys or guys that are like your mop-up guys still throwing 98, 99 miles an hour. They're just not polished yet to where they're throwing strikes all the time, you know what I mean? Where in 2 years they're going to be closers in the game. It's just the game is at a point right now that, it's the pitchers are just dominating the game. No matter what rule changes you put in, the pitchers are still going to dominate. And that's the one thing that offensively that has changed, that on the offensive side of the game, is the stolen bases. Stolen bases are up, because speed is more of a thing now. You're not just having power hitters play all over the infield. You're having athletes in the game right now. And that's why probably too that the hitting is down, right? Because you're not having the best hitters. You're more tailoring your lineup to platoon guys that can play multiple positions, that are speed guys, so that when they do get on by a walk or a little single, they can be on third base within 3 pitches. You know what I mean? That's kind of been the Red Sox game this year, is playing matchups. Like Rafael is playing short and center every other day. It depends if it's righty or lefty. So that's kind of the game right now. There's a lot of platoon players because athleticism is back in the game.
So one of the things that's been rumored this year a lot has been with the robotic umpires, with all of these older umpires retiring now. And the other thing that came out recently is the players being allowed to challenge balls and strikes, both a pitcher and a hitter. So what are your thoughts to that transition of the game that we could see with technology and AI taking over for the umpires?
I think it's great to an extent, right? Like, you watch the tennis right now and they have the automated balls, like in or out calls, right? But that's like 24/7. I think with baseball, they should limit it, right? Like, you should have like the challenges. Hey, you only get 3 challenges per game on each side. If you get one right, you keep it, because then if you do it when it's there 24/7, the athleticism of catching and the talent of catching goes away. You really just need somebody to just catch the ball. You don't need someone to frame the ball. You have all these catchers now that are good at stealing strikes, where that's not going to matter anymore. You know what I mean? So like the athleticism and the position of a catcher isn't going to mean as much as it does now, which I think is taken away from the game, because catching is one of the most amazing positions in baseball, the hardest position in that aspect. You know what I mean? So I think they should do it, but do it to where you get 3 challenges per team. So then that way there's strategy in it too, right? Like, you're not going to do it in the first inning, right? You're going to save it. And if you're down a lot, you're not really going to use it. But if it's a close game, like, hey, guy on second and third in like the 5th inning, and the guy strikes a ball, you challenge it, you get it back, and then that's when you could use. So that'll bring strategy back into the game with like football and its challenges too. So I think I think if they bring it, it shouldn't be 24/7. It should be on like a limited basis so that there is some strategy to the game, and then that the catching position still has some athleticism and some purpose in the game.
Now, I don't want to get you in trouble, okay? So we're going to try to keep this as, as clear from you getting in trouble from anybody, the MLB or any of that. The whole Ohtani thing, okay? I didn't hear your thoughts. We've had a lot of people on this show, ex-players, even players that are still in the league. And I asked them, do you believe Ohtani was involved at any point in this scam and this betting situation? I do believe. It's hard to believe that his best friend in Anaheim was involved with it, and his interpreter, who was one of his best friends, were involved with it. Whatever his name was, he was involved with it, and that he didn't realize that there was $18 to $19 million missing out of his account, because Mr. Deven, Marrero, I'm very bad with names, but Deven, you know all about this. When it comes to the game and when it comes to money, you know what's in and out of your account. It doesn't matter how rich you are. You know you're missing $18 million. It's hard to believe. Do you believe, honestly, and I know, and we've said this before, I know baseball is trying to protect their best player and their best asset. Do you believe that Ohtani had something to do with that?
No. Zero. Because I'm close with Mookie. Mookie's been in the locker room with him for a whole year now. And this guy knows nothing about sports, like besides baseball. Like all he cares about is baseball, and that's it. So the fact that has betted allegedly $19 million on football and all these other sports, I don't believe it. And just his character, man, and what everyone says about him that's in that clubhouse. And listen, he's so rich and has so much money that I know 18 million sounds like a lot to a lot of people, but I'm sure that guy and his trusted advisors were working behind him in a way where like he couldn't really notice it, So his character and what I've heard about teammates that have played with him and stuff, I don't think he had anything to do with it. And I hope not. And I hope, it's was just those two guys, because he means a lot to this game, and his reputation would go out the door. We saw what happened to Pete, and this would trump Pete.
I was just gonna cut you off there. Do you believe that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame?
100%.
Why is baseball keeping him out of Hall of Fame? I don't want to hear that, because he's alive, and when he dies, he'll be the first person into the Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous. The guy should be in the Hall of Fame. He's the greatest hitter in baseball history. There's no reason why. You don't want him in baseball. You don't want to bring him back into baseball. That's fine. He's still making millions of dollars signing autographs. I don't think Pete Rose cares if he's involved with baseball anymore. But he should be in the Hall of Fame. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and you see the guys that have played with him too, and you watch his games. I don't really remember watching his games, but I've seen extended highlights of him, and you can tell this guy never bet against his team. This guy played probably the most hard-nosed baseball game that there is. He invented the hard-nosed culture, playing hard 90s. This guy was the American baseball culture, right? Of playing hard and all that. So I think he deserves it, man, because how many guys do we know that are in the Hall of Fame that didn't get caught for steroids, but that are in it? You know what I mean? There's so much stuff going on in the whole Hall of Fame thing, but I think he deserves it. You talk about baseball in its entirety, that guy was one of the best baseball players in his time.
Devin,
that should be the criteria, not what he did off the field, not, you know what I mean? Who cares?
I get so angry because I interviewed Eric Davis. I was at an event. Everybody knows who he is. He played for the Green Machine or whatever, the Red Green Machine, Red Machine, whatever the hell they called themselves over there in the the 70s and the 80s. He knows Pete Rose. And I asked him, I said, do you believe Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame? He looked at me like he was about to rip my head off my body. And he said, what do you think? And I said, yeah, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I've been arguing on my radio show for years. And he says, well, I'm going to tell you, I don't want to mention any names, but you know what the names are. There are reasons why he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's a sham. He says it's a sham that the MLB is keeping this man out of the Hall of Fame for all the great things he did in the game and all the great things he did outside of the game. And people forget that because of all this betting crap, which, by the way, he never betted against his team. He betted for his team. So it doesn't make any sense. If he bets against his team, he's planning to lose. If he's betting for his team to win, he's planning to win. So what is the reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame? Makes no sense.
Yeah, but I think you give it 10 more years, some of these old alumni guys will kind of not care anymore, because alumni can still vote guys in. I don't know if you guys knew that. Alumni can get together and still vote guys in. So, like, people are saying in about 5 years, they think he'll get in and then Barry will get in, because the alumni will come together and be like, guys, screw it. These guys deserve to be in here. Like, let's go. Like, the new generation, I think, is going to be the new set of alumni guys are going to really appreciate those guys, and are going to want them in the Hall of Fame. So give it 5, 10 years, and I bet you those guys sneak in.
I want to see Barry Bonds. I want to see Roger Clemens. Don Mattingly should be in the Hall of Fame for the 5 or 6 years he was dominant. I love Joe Mauer. Mauer. I'm sorry. I love Joe Mauer. He was a great player, a great catcher. At the time, he was an elite catcher. His numbers, the Silver Sluggers that he won. But Don Mattingly had the same numbers as Joe Mauer, and Don Mattingly is not in the Hall of Fame, but Joe Mauer is. It doesn't make sense. You have guys. I'll say this. I think Tim Raines was a good player. He's not a Hall of Famer. I could go Harold Baines. You think Harold Baines is a Hall of Famer? He's not a Hall of Famer. It makes no sense how they pick these guys, because he was Tony La Russa's guy. He's in all, and we met Tony La Russa. Love the guy. And I had an interview with him, and I wanted to ask him that question, but I didn't want to piss the man off. He looked like he still, as an old guy, he still could coach and probably rip your damn head off. So I didn't want to piss Tony off, but it doesn't make – Harold Baines should not be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, it's these writers, man, that are in charge of this, right? And, you know, it's like David Ortiz getting in and all these guys getting in, and it's like you realize that how you treat the media helps you, like, when you played. And I think that's kind of like a big aspect of it too, is that guys don't really realize is how you treat media when you play affects you getting in or not as well. So you have to look at that too, man, and see how guys treated me. Like they did that Barry documentary on him not getting in the Hall of Fame, and all the writers got together and made a documentary, and they pretty much bashed him the whole time because they didn't give access to his life and his career. You know what I mean? So that's all part of it, man. And I hope these writers get it right and start putting some of these guys in that really deserve it, just because of the way they played the game and what they did for baseball. They put baseball on the map. You know, like when baseball was getting boring, right? Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and Barry Bonds saved baseball.
100%.
You know, and just because of that, they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? And yeah, their numbers speak for themselves, but those guys saved baseball. You know, like the reason why they didn't test for steroids then, because they were like, hey, this is helping save baseball. You know what I mean? So you can't really penalize these guys, right? Because you look at the game back then, you watch these guys come up to the plate, you could tell who was and who wasn't on steroids, and it was 95% of these teams.
How is Bud Selig in the Hall of Fame? And he was involved with it. He was there. How is he in the Hall of Fame? George Steinbrenner's not in the Hall of Fame. Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, all these guys. He was involved with all of this, and he sits there and he says, "Oh well, I didn't know what was going on." Get out of here!
Sure.
Go sell another fake
Save
card.
it.
Yeah,
Save
I
it.
can't stand it. Him and Rob Manfred can kiss my rear end. Okay, both of them can kiss my rear end. And when Rob decides to retire, I'll make sure I stick my fanny in his face. He can kiss it all night long.
When Albert Pujols becomes commissioner.
I can't stand him. I would never. If somebody offered me a baseball job and asked me to work on the MLB.com, I would just bash Rob Manfred the whole time. I wouldn't have a job. Okay, they would hate me. So because I just think as a commissioner, the guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's just an idiot. He ruins the game. Get away from the game already. Just retire. Make it better for me. so I don't have to make fun of you. Anyways, Deven, we really appreciate the time. And by the way, I'm being serious. If you have an after party, I don't know where's your party going to be. Is it going to be in Florida, Miami?
We haven't really decided yet. Probably either East Coast or West Coast somewhere.
Well, you got to let me know, man. I would love to do your after party. I'll do it for practically nothing. Okay, just to have a little fun with you. What kind of music do you like?
I'm big into the house stuff right now, like the Afro house. That's kind of what I jam to. Country music kind of like mellows me out.
I can.
But that old school '90s hip hop and all that it's always the jam too. So that's the rap nowadays is brutal. You know what I mean? So I've been off of that for like 7 years. I've been hard on the Afro house and techno stuff and country music is big for me right now.
I actually mix techno and house music, progressive house music, because that's what I like. I like the singing and all that other stuff, but I mix music too. So it's fun when you take some people like Calvin Harris or Tiesto and kind of mix their music together and make your own, sound to it. So it's fun. I wouldn't be doing it still. I mean, I'm 42 and I love it. I love it so much. I continue doing it because I've been doing it since I was a kid. I started with techniques and records and carrying around crates to CDs. And now, as a guy that people would, say, well, what program do you use? Everybody uses Serato here. And I'm like, Tractor. They're like, Tractor, you're the only person I use. That's right. I'm the only person that use it because I'm the best. That's why I'm going to say it. So let me know. We'll stay in touch. Speedy's got your number, right?
I do.
We'll stay in touch. If you're looking for an after party, I would love to do it, man. I'd have a lot of fun. All you got to do, I'll tell you what, all you got to do is fly me out there and I'll do the rest.
We'll feed you.
What? Yeah, you feed me. No, that's fine. I mean, I don't really eat. So I don't really eat at those parties. I'm a big guy, but I don't really eat at those parties. I just like to entertain people. So that's what I do. So anyways, stay in touch, man. Keep up the good work. I've been watching you, man, and you're shining. And, maybe one day we'll be working together, just not with the Red Sox. Maybe something.
Appreciate it, guys. This is awesome. Always good to be on here with y'all.
Absolutely. Deven Marrero, fantastic personality, getting married, ladies and gentlemen. So he's off. He's off and ready to go. He's sailing away, Speedy. Could you sing that song, Christopher Cross?
No.
Sailing, take me away. I don't have a voice, so I'm not going to sing that. But anyways.
I would not be able to sound like him.
Well, I didn't ask you to sound like him. I'm saying to sing the song. And by the way, Deven doesn't know about your OnlyFans.
And nor will he.
I think he should. I think we should show him his OnlyFans. Anybody want to check Speedy Petey right now? You could go to Fans Only right there. And you can sign up and follow Speedy. And by the way, you're going to need a Men in Black memory eraser.
All right, fine, Deven. We'll bring you back in for your honest reaction to that.
Oh, jeez. Hey,
in Black memory. You can object to it, Deven.
Got to pay the bill somehow. You know what I'm saying? If it works, it works. Put those feet in there. People love that.
Oh God. Yes, that is a very unfortunate Twitter trend of feet.
Love it. Love
it. Deven Marrero. Oh, Speedy. We have fun. It's all in good fun, Speedy. You know all about that, right?
Not like that, though. Definitely not with OnlyFans or sending feet pictures on Twitter. Oh, that's good. That's good, actually. I'll give you that. I'll fish. That wins graphic of the week.
It's a good one, Fish.
Graphic of the week.
Love that.
Oh man, Fish is getting good at that, man. He's getting his graphics are really, really good. I mean, Speedy, you are afraid of snakes.
I am.
You are definitely afraid. What? He's just afraid of snakes.
So I told our previous guest that's how the origin started. Daniel Stumpf. He was saying how his kid likes to hunt down snakes because he's living in Texas and in Houston. And he's like, he even said he was afraid of snakes. And I was saying Errol was telling him that I was afraid of snakes. And it stems back to when I was 7 years old. there was one coming right towards my door when after I got home from school, and I had to try to keep it out of the house. Nobody else was home at that time because my mom was out, my dad was working. I had to go into the house, and I had to keep a snake out of the house. And since then, I've been afraid of them.
Oh God! But Fish, post that up. Let him see that one before he goes. That's a good one.
Which has nothing to do with snakes, but okay.
Well, it does have something to do with a snake, right?
Those are not snakes in the grill.
It's good for both of us.
It's good for both of us. I mean, you love sausages, right?
Which are not snakes.
And they look like them, right?
Okay, but that doesn't correlate.
Well, tell Deven what you like. You like the dark sausages.
Yes,
Why?
I do.
Why do you like the dark sausages?
It's better flavored.
It's better flavored. Yeah, you don't like white sausages?
I don't care as much about
because they're bland, right?
The white Italians.
Why? Because they're bland, right?
Comparatively, yes.
Would you like them large or thick?
That doesn't matter.
It does. Thick or large or long?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Flavor.
It's all about flavor.
Fish, you have a graphic for that too. You can put that one up as well. Before he starts talking in circles.
Oh man, go ahead and post that up. Go ahead, let's.
Oh man, you guys got these things rolling.
That he does.
This is the sausage episode. You guys should call it.
Oh,
every episode it seems like the sausage episode. Unfortunately,
Like
somehow every conversation comes back to that, even if it means absolutely nothing.
You like pickles too?
Okay.
You like them salty, right?
I said I like them more tart compared to the sweeter pickles.
And let me ask you a question, Deven. Have you ever heard anybody say, "I like my pickles because I like them tart"? That's what he says.
Which is a comparison for a lot of vegetables and fruits.
Embrace the pickle.
We just need to hear I like pickles. We don't need to go into deep detail about how you like pickles and what kind of sausages you like. You know, it's just I like sausages.
I try, but yeah, it still comes back to that in his brain.
He's digging for more info on you. You're just giving it to him, you know?
Yeah, well, he's easy to give it to, right, Speedy?
No.
You're ready to take it, right?
No.
You don't like taking it?
I don't know what that means. For the conversation of pickles.
Cucumbers?
They're bland too.
Bland? Thick?
They're watery.
They're watery.
Thickness.
Oh man, Speedy is it? He's
all right, fellas. Really appreciate it.
Deven, thank you.
Thank
man.
you.
We'll talk, man. Deven.
All right, have a good one.
Deven Marrero. He's doing big things right now.
Yep.
He's doing big things. He's having a lot of fun. Who's better than him?
Oh yeah.
Who's better than him? He's getting married to a beautiful woman. He's just hanging out and doing his thing on NESN, man. And the Boston Red Sox channel over there in Boston. I know one guy that loves to watch him. Jeffrey.
Oh,
good old Jeffrey.
The former Red Sox fan that claims he's now a Mets fan. That one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So let's get into some more because we got a lot to get into, which we haven't gotten into. Oh, ESPN's Brian Windhorst said on First Take that he doesn't think Steve Kerr's coaching starting lineup have been a problem. He added that it is hard to argue with the results of the games so far being a concern. Jason Tatum said, hold on, let me get this up right over here. Jason Tatum said he found Kerr's rotation difficult and called it a humbling experience to not play versus Serbia. In Team USA's most recent game versus South Sudan, Joel Embiid did not play at all. Windhorst added that he is not concerned about Steph Curry's shooting struggles, but has to realize he can't shoot as a high volume shooter like he did in the NBA. Team USA clinched a spot in the quarterfinals after a 103-86 win against South Sudan. Brian Windhorst is very well respected when it comes to the NBA. There's no question. And we all know that Stephen A. Smith loves him because he has him on the show a lot. The fact is, the situation as far as coaching the starting lineup has definitely been a problem. To say that it hasn't been a problem, it has been. And Joel Embiid, he's not healthy right now, and that's one of the reasons why Joel Embiid shouldn't be on the team. Either should Kevin Durant. If you're not 100% healthy, you shouldn't be a part of this team. Jalen Brunson, he's not 100% healthy. That's one of the reasons why he's not on the team. Say whatever you want. You're going to tell me that Derek White is better than Jalen Brunson? That doesn't make any sense. That's one. Number two, the reason why he's probably on a team is because he's injured. Now Kawhi Leonard, they didn't want him on a team. They say he wasn't 100% healthy, so they sent him home. Even though Kawhi said he's more than enough healthy to play on this Olympic team. If he's only playing for 13, 14 minutes, don't you think 80% Kawhi Leonard is better than Derek White? I would think so. And why? Because Coach LeBron doesn't want him there. Okay? These are facts. And Jason Tatum coming out and saying the rotation is difficult, that he said that Steve Kerr's, but it was humbling. It is difficult because Jason Tatum is one of the top 7 players in the league, and he should be playing at least 15 to 20 minutes, even if you're setting your rotation, and most of the guys are playing between 15 and 20 minutes. This guy should be on the court as much as anybody. LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. The reason why Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron James are on the court, not because they're the best players and not because they're at the elite part of their careers. It's because they are veteran players and they're at the tail end of their careers, and this might be their last Olympics. That is the fact here. And Steve Kerr is a kiss ass. He loves to kiss people's ass, and he wants to make sure that LeBron James is happy. That's the fact. And I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, Steph Curry is one of his players. You think he's going to sit Steph Curry? No way in hell. He's going to sit other guys because he could care less if he's sitting Jason Tatum or Joel Embiid. Okay? You play the best players. And you're going to tell me that LeBron James is the best player on this team? He's not. You're going to tell me that Steph Curry is the best player on this team? He's not. And if you're going to tell me KD is the best player on this team, you are out of your damn minds. Anthony Edwards is better than all 3 of those guys. So why isn't he playing as much as all 3 of those guys? It doesn't make sense. The rotation makes no sense. And the fact here, I want to say something about Steph Curry. You have to look at what Steph Curry is doing and be alarmed, okay? You have to be. Have you ever seen Steph Curry struggle as much as he has shooting? Has anybody ever seen this before? Because I have never seen Steph Curry miss 3-4 3-pointers in a row. Very rarely. You see it maybe once every other year. You don't see a guy like that. This guy is the most efficient shooter we've ever seen in NBA history. He is as efficient as anybody we've ever seen. I think career-wise, he's a 49, 50% three-point shooter. You know what he's shooting right now in the Olympics at 3? It's not good. It's like 39%. That's not good. That's alarming to me. If you're a Steph Curry fan and you're sitting here right now and wondering why he is playing between 15 and 20 or whatever I don't know what the minutes are that Steph Curry is playing right now, but he's playing more than Anthony Edwards. He's playing more than Jason Tatum. Why are they playing more than the youngsters? I want to see the youngsters. These guys are the future. These guys are the faces of United States basketball moving forward after LeBron's gone, KD's gone, and Steph Curry's gone. They should just be happy they're a part of this team. And the fact that moving forward, that these guys are the future.
Yep, and the experience is still going to be there for everybody to take on the Olympic experience, take on the part of Team USA aspect. So the experience is not going to go away for somebody like LeBron James or Steph Curry that are going to be on the team. And Kevin Durant's still obviously a big question mark because he's hurt as well. And yeah, he's played well, but like still, you could definitely get that kind of production with some of these younger guys as well. And you're not going to get exposed as much as you have defensively either. I know they've blown them out in double digits, but it's not really like you're seeing a lot on defense. Like finally the size started to play better last game, but that's because these guys are getting inside better, but they're still allowing 86 points to a team of a country that was founded in 2011.
I don't even care about that. It doesn't matter to me because to anybody to compare this team to the Dream Team is a joke. Because if the Dream Team, I don't care when they played and they didn't play against good international teams. If the Dream Team was if Michael Jordan was in the prime of his career and he was playing on this team would be winning by 50. 50. Okay? Michael Jordan would not accept the fact that you're beating a no-name team that has no NBA superstars on that team by only 15, 16 points. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to even let Sudan actually be in this game. So it just shows you where this team is going. And Steve Kerr, who's such a great coach, does he know how to teach defense? Does he know anything? Does he know anything about defense? Because this team doesn't know how to play a half a lick of defense, okay? Everybody is getting to the hole. Everybody is scoring. They're shooting threes all over. And I'm going to tell you this right now. They play like this when they move on to the quarterfinals and semifinals, they're going to be eliminated. They're going to be eliminated because there's No way this team is going to play the way they are when they play against Team France or Team Canada or whoever makes it to the semifinals and then the finals and expect them to just trample all over them. It's not. Now, I'm going to say this. The United States is by far the most talented team out of all these teams because of the talent that they have on the roster. But talent doesn't always win. As we all know what happened years and years ago in the Olympics when you had Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan and Stephon Marbury. And Allen Iverson, they did not win the gold medal. That's why they had to bring back Kobe Bryant to the team and create the Redeem team because of that team. So again, you look at where, Steve Kerr is and Brian Windhorst. I understand that he is not going to throw anybody under the bus. He works for the NBA. He works for ESPN and he works for, in First Take, and he knows, obviously Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith would say the same thing I'm saying right now. There's no way in hell this team is better than the Dream Team. No way in hell. And for anybody that over the last couple of weeks, the Cowherds and everybody, the Nick Wrights, everybody saying that this team could beat it is a joke. It's really hilarious because I would love to hear what Charles Barkley, if I had Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, and Patrick Ewing on, a survey of what they think about any one of those guys saying that this team is better than the Dream Team, I would bet you all three of them would make jokes about this team compared to their team. It just doesn't. There's no way they have any chance against the Dream Team.
That would be the equivalent of like
maybe now because they're old.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. But yeah, you look at I
think Michael Jordan probably could score 25, 30 points on this Olympic team.
The equivalent of like 86 points being allowed to a country that was founded 13 years ago would be like one of the Soviet republics that broke off after the Berlin Wall fell, allowing 86 points to that country, not even Russia, that country. That's that country coming out of it. Like, that's what the equivalent of the defensive concerns is. Yes, they're still scoring a ton, but like you said, eventually of teams that can play defense, you're not going to be able to score all that. France with all the athleticism and size they have, Canada with all the versatility that they have as well, definitely going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I just think it's so funny. And Jason Tatum is not going to throw his coach under the bus, but you watch. When the Olympics are over, and let's say the United States don't win the gold medal, best believe Jason Tatum will be talking crap. Best believe it. I guarantee you Jason Tatum's going to be talking crap. You're going to hear a lot of things, a lot of inside sources that this wasn't even Steve Kerr's team. It was LeBron James's team. Everybody's going to say it because if you don't believe it, I think you guys are blind. Everybody that is watching the Olympics right now. I didn't even watch the last game. But I heard about it. It was enough said that this team doesn't know how to play defense. LeBron James is a shell of himself. Kevin Durant is a shell of himself. Steph Curry is a shell of himself. Joel Embiid should not be on this team. He's not 100% healthy. You could see it. He's not 100% healthy. Why is he on this team? Why is Kevin Durant on this team if they're not 100% healthy? It just doesn't make sense.
No, it does not.
Bring Fish in. I want to know his opinion on this story, and we'll move on to the next one.
Hey guys, how we doing tonight?
We're good,
Look,
man.
The Steve Kerr thing, I took a couple of notes on what we were saying here, and Steve Kerr, and I showed some highlights of Kerr winning with Jordan, and Jordan trusting him to take key shots at key points in the game.
After he punched him in the face at practice, by the way.
I was just going to bring that up. This is a guy who withstood being punched in the face by Michael Jordan and earned his respect. I think sometimes we sell Steve Kerr a little short and we forget that about him. He also, since you brought up history, and I am a history teacher doing summer school, teaching the Cold War literally on Monday. So it's funny you brought that up. But his father was actually assassinated as an American diplomat in Lebanon when he was a teenager. And he's really been through the ringer of stuff. I think this is a guy that has had so many things happen through his life and has persevered.
He's overcome them, yes.
And also, proven his mettle to Michael Jordan. I think we have to remember that sometimes about him. We also proved it to Pop, and he got his other titles with Popovich. And you could say that the system he runs is kind of like a hybrid of the triangle and what Pop runs used to run with the motion offense, right? It's kind of that, and now except with the 5-out look that he has with the Warriors, or at least he used to have before he lost Clay. We'll see what he does next year. But, I think there's that. And then, The dream team stuff, I think it's really fun. I wish they were interviewed so a guy like Ewing can just like scoff at it the same way that you remember how I don't even know if any of them are still alive, but the 1970 Dolphins, the undefeated team, whenever they'd always go to them every NFL season, and I think it was Mercury Morris. And they would like pop the champagne as soon as the last team won because no one was ever as good as them. You know, even though it's a completely different era, it's just like they scoffed at the concept of it. I don't really agree with them, but I would agree with the dream team scoffing at any future team, including the 96 team that had most of them on it, same guys on it, you know? So I think it's really kind of a whole bunch of different things coming together. It's a good team. It's not a great team. And Kerr is doing something that I don't know if it's kind of being a coaching master, like Windhorst says. I'd probably say he's trying to get everybody, you know, in the flow of the game at the international level, giving everyone equal minutes. And
by the time he gets him, by the time he gets him in the flow, this tournament could be over. So
I know.
It doesn't make sense. If you wanted them to be in the flow of things, you should have started them early after the season was over. They should have been practicing even more together and figuring things out. And if you didn't think that this team was going to work hand in hand together, well, then maybe you should have changed the roster. Maybe you bring in subpar players. Maybe you bring in more Derek White players. Bring in the youngsters. You know, the future of American basketball is really hanging by a string because if you look at what these European players are transitioning into, they're much better. They're much more talented. Just think about it. The top 3 players in the league are foreigners. The top 3 players right now in the NBA are foreigners. Let's go. Nikola Jokic, number 1. He is from Serbia. Number 2, obviously, Luka Doncic. Where's he from? Slovenia. And number 3, the Greek Freak. Where's he from? Greece. Those 3 guys are the top 3 players in the NBA, and they're European players. That tells you where American basketball is transitioning into. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If they don't get this right and don't put this thing, you know, together again, in 4 years, Team USA is not going to be the dominant force that they have been over the last 50, 60, 70 years. So
I have the list of the top players in the NBA put together by, I believe this is the ringer.com. And if you count up the top 10 that they have, it's Jokic, Doncic, Greek Freak, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's Canada, right?
Yep.
And then they have Tatum and Embiid and Curry following that with Edwards and Durant and AD. So it's really all the American All-Stars after that. Then Jalen Brunson ahead of LeBron James, which made me laugh and thoroughly enjoyed that one.
He's better than LeBron James right now. He is. It's the season that he had. Jalen Brunson was the best point guard in the NBA last year. It's a shame that the MVP voting, he was 5th in the MVP voting when he should have been a top 3. Just because he plays for the Knicks, he is sitting there at 5. He didn't get any number 1 votings. I don't understand how. He was the best point guard in the whole league. In the whole league. Who was better than he was? Honestly, who put the numbers up the way he played? Dude, he's the only player besides Michael Jordan in the last 30 years to put how many 40-point games in the playoffs? This is a guy that was a second-round draft pick. A second-round draft pick. It's incredible what Jalen Brunson has done. And because you know why he's not on this United States team is because he was injured. Kawhi Leonard's not on this team because he's injured. But KD's on this team. Joel Embiid's on this team. You name it, they're practically. I mean, LeBron James is 100% healthy. He's on the team. Why? Because he's LeBron James. Because it's Kevin Durant. It's a joke. And Grant Hill, stop making excuses. It is ridiculous saying that, you know, Derek White fits this team. He fits the culture. Really? What has he done? What you're brought to this team to play defense. Why is every single point guard dominating you? Guys that you never heard of is dominating you. Okay? Him and Drew Holiday, and I love Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday hasn't played well. They're not playing well. So this team is not defending. They're letting teams shoot threes on you, get into the paint, get to the free throw line. Why? You're that talented and you're that great and you're better than the dream team. How is this possible? It's bull crap. Another story I wanted to get into. Draymond Green said on the 520 podcast that young NBA players that haven't proven anything shouldn't be doing their own podcast. He added that nobody will want to hear from you if you're only a third-year player and haven't earned anything. He also said, being a great podcaster takes time, and you have to earn it just like playing basketball. Draymond Green started a podcast May 2022, a month before Warriors beat the Celtics in the NBA championship. He started his podcast during the Warriors series versus the Grizzlies, which featured several cheap shots with him and Dylan Brooks. First of all, okay, and I a lot to say about Draymond Green, all right? A lot to say about Mr. Draymond Green, how selfish, how disgusting this person is. Who cares if anybody is doing a podcast? Everybody and their mother is doing a podcast. There are people that you never even heard of doing podcasts. They're sitting in their bathroom, in their tubs doing podcasts, and people actually watching them. Who the hell cares if they want to sit in their room, sit in their tub, or sit on the moon, okay? If people want to watch them, they're going to watch them. And you got to earn your stripes. What have you earned? What have you done as a podcaster that has earned any respect of your peers and your players? Why? Because you speak about the Golden State Warriors, you play with Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. You're a fool. That's what you are. You're an absolute fool. All right? And the reason why people are listening to you and following you, because they're waiting for some selfish craziness to come out of your mouth. That's what you are. You're a selfish player. You think you're one of the greatest players at your position when you're not. And you're not even half the player you once were. And half of these players, even Dylan Brooks is a better player than you are. And you bring up Dylan Brooks like he's a menace. You have been a menace in the NBA for how many years? Everybody hates you. You choke people, you punch people, you kick people in the balls. You think that makes you a good podcaster? Dude, I've been doing this for 12 years, buddy. 12 years. And you could call it podcasting, you could call it live radio shows, you could call it whatever you damn well please. I'm going to tell you this right now. I am not selfish enough to attack anybody on this show that's putting out product, putting out content, even if I don't like them. And there's a lot of people in this business I can't stand. Speedy knows me just as good as anybody. You guys are learning about me on who I hate and who I don't like and what they say and what they shouldn't say and what I should say and what I shouldn't say. And I don't give a crap. I'm going to say what I want. You don't like it. You can listen to it. You can hate it. You can kiss my ass. And you know what? Draymond Green, anything. You have a podcast. You're on radio. You're on FM. You're on AM. You're hanging out with Charles Barkley, jerking him off. I could give a rat's ass what you think about the NBA, the NFL, or whatever you think. As a matter of fact, as a person, I think you're a scum. That's what I think you are. I don't have to know you. I don't care who you are. But I will say something about your game. Your game is overrated. I used to stick up for you. I used to think you were the best two-way player in the league. I used to think you were the best player on your team at one point. You know what? I take it back. You're the biggest, rottenest player I've ever seen at your position. And the fact that you have been Defensive Player of the Year is a sham, because even when you won those Defensive Players of the Year, LeBron James was a better defensive player than you were, and you won it over him. Rudy Gobert was a better defensive player than you were when you won it over him. You are an overrated chump. That's what you are, that opens his big fat mouth and has something to say. You shouldn't be attacking these youngsters. Who cares if they've been in a league for 3 years? Who cares if they've been in a league for 10 years? You're an idiot.
All right, looks like Keith is calling back.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Keith. That was my spiel about Draymond Green.
What's up, Keith?
I didn't hear it. Damn it. I don't know what's going on. I'm like,
we were talking about Draymond Green attacking these young players having their own podcast, that they have to earn their stripes. What has he earned? The only thing he's earned is a dirty piece of underwear. That's about it. His trophies, everything that he's won, it wasn't because of him. It was because of Steph Curry. It's because of Klay Thompson. It's because of Kevin Durant. Stop it. He is one of the most overrated players in NBA history. And he comes out and he wants to attack people and attack kids because they're doing a podcast. Who cares? I just said it. I don't care what anybody has done. How many people do podcasts? There's over 5 million podcasts put out.
My son's got a podcast.
Yeah.
And you're stupid.
Let's not
Still making money.
let's
You're
not-
right. Anybody could put a podcast. I agree with that.
How the hell is he making money on that garbage?
I'll never know, my friend. I'll never know, and you know you'll never know.
No, well, I don't have to know. I would love to get him on this show. I would love. We should go one-on-one. Mr. I know it all about sports. Mr. I know football. I would love to get Brandon Rooney on this show. Brandon, I'm calling you out. Speedy, you're going to take this, okay? Speedy, I want you. I'm calling him out right now. I'm calling him right now on my show, The Sports Loudmouth. Brandon Rooney, you, your wife, whoever, come on this show. Come on this show. Come on this show and argue sports with me. Hold on.
Says it's about sports, but he's never talked about sports once.
I'm going to do.
But have you seen? I'm telling you right now, though, she's going. People are catching on to her shit, realizing she's fake and phony. That's why her nickname name should be Impossible, not Impossible.
Well, I've got something new for you. I got
a good one too. It's KUNT possible.
Well, that could be too. I mean, that could be good. But my call out is to Brandon Rooney. And if you have any balls, and Speedy, I want you to cut this, and I'm going to send this to him on social media, on LinkedIn, and everything. I'm calling out him and his wife to come out on my show whenever they want. I will bet him $5,000. Okay, $5,000. All right, to the winner in a trivia contest after I blow you out of the water and call you out for all the bull crap that's come out of your mouth and your wife's mouth, because it's all sham. All right, that's what it is. It's a friggin' sham. I am calling Brandon Rooney out on his thoughts in the game of basketball, which he thinks he knows, or football, and his knowledge in the sports world. So here's the challenge.
One thing about him, he does not know sports. He doesn't.
He doesn't know crap. What does he know?
And you know what? And I don't care. That's okay. But
dick.
You know what though? No, she really gets me going because she's so full of shit and fake and phony, as you know. I know we're not talking about sports, but you know we both know where we're coming with this. Listen, she's just the worst. And you know what? No, we could talk to her about her lives, and we could get on all the bullshit she talks about with Scarlett Johansson. Bullied me. Who cares? I wish she made fun of her teeth. I wish she knocked her big teeth out of her fucking mouth. Okay.
All right. So what?
Let's go beautiful and hot. So God bless her.
She's not beautiful.
All right.
She looks like my ass. Anyways, go ahead.
What are you thinking about the Olympic game the other day?
Which one? The United States Olympic team?
Yeah.
I think that they don't know how to play defense. I do not believe that this team understands the word defense.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought they played decent defense, pretty good. Well, you know what? White played great. He was awesome the other day. His defense was sick. He didn't miss a shot. He had key shots. I got to say, at first I didn't think he should have been picked, but I know why they picked him. Sometimes you got to have that complimentary player who doesn't demand the ball, and he really does fit in well. And Kerr, I do think Kerr's doing a great job as far as minutes with each guy. He didn't play Embiid at all, which is a good thing, probably, because Embiid's always hurt and misses games during the season. It's South Sudan, so it's amazing what they're doing. They got some guys who can ball, though. But you know what? You don't know defensively because they can coast it. They're going to win that game. I saw a lot of good things defensively. Even Kevin Durant shocked me and played some decent defense.
They played Sudan, man, and they still.
No, I know. That's what I said. But I'm telling you, Sudan's better than you think.
Yeah, but they don't have any NBA superstars. They don't have anybody that wows you.
No, they don't. But you know what? No, they don't. And sometimes you don't need that. The guy, who's coaching them, right?
Go ahead. Who's coaching them?
Luolda. And the guy who used to play for the Bulls.
Yes, I know Luol Deng. He played for Duke.
Dude,
I know him.
I gotta say, he's doing an amazing job. Do you know they didn't even have an indoor gym to play at until a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
They were practicing outside. Mm-hmm. I mean, just unbelievable. Like there's little third world countries, fucking. The fact they even this far, I don't know. They had to score a certain amount of points. Did they make it? I don't think so. They were close. It's point differential, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speedy, you know if they made it?
I'm not sure, but
I don't think they did.
Close.
But you're right. They did hang
I
tougher
don't
than
think-
expected because it was a good group.
Yeah, no, they've come a long, long way. But we'll see. I'll tell you what, though. Now, I was looking at your boy, Leonard, and Durant's stats. Durant's stats are much better offensively in his career. 4 points for a game. Last year, he averaged 7 more points a game. But do you know Durant averaged more than him last year?
Do you know that Kawhi Leonard's just a better overall player than Kevin Durant is?
Not last year.
No, he's a better overall player than Kevin
Well,
Durant.
you know what? Speedy, do me a favor. And yeah, he could be, but it's close. I like Durant offensively better.
Let me ask you a question. Kevin Durant
Durant's got a lot more range.
Kevin Durant in the draft, where was he drafted?
When was he drafted?
No, where was he drafted?
I can't hear you. I don't
Where
understand.
was he drafted in his draft? First, second, third?
Okay, say.
Yeah, second. Okay. Where was Kawhi? Where was Kawhi drafted?
Kawhi was lower.
No, yes, he was later. He was
Yeah,
drafted.
he was a steal.
Yeah.
San Diego State,
Yeah,
right?
San Diego State, 16 by the San Antonio Spurs, and everybody was like,
Oh, great draft. Listen, Kawhi Leonard's awesome. I'm not going to disagree. But Durant is still one of the greatest players in the world. Like, you get to see that. This guy's a player how long. He's just coming out. He's just so smooth, and he's got a great outside shot. The Leonard's, I think, 3-point is actually a little higher. Very close over the years, but Durant has a lot more range. He handles the ball well, great for a guy his size. But I looked at the stats. Durant's All-Star 14 times, Leonard 7. Now, Durant's played a few years longer, I believe. They both won the same amount of championships. Again, though, I will give you that. He was on a team that was stacked, with Golden State, but he was part of it. I mean, the best Golden State teams were with him.
First of all, Kevin
Draymond Green, hey, listen, I don't think they win without him.
I do.
His defense was sick. The best by far. And dude, I don't know if you remember, but he hit occasional threes, and I used to be like, "Where's this coming from?"
When they won the championship, when they won their first championship without Kevin Durant, who was the best player? Who won the MVP?
Oh, Curry was the best player by far.
No, who was the best player in the finals?
Oh, Thompson, me?
Andre
Green
Iguodala.
got it, didn't he?
Andre Iguodala was the best player.
Oh, I didn't remember that. You're right. He did get the MVP.
Andre Iguodala was the best defensive player on that team. Okay, it wasn't Draymond Green. It was Andre Iguodala.
Oh, wait, did you say he was the best defensive player?
I'm saying that Draymond Green is one of the most overrated players at his position. That's what I'm saying. I do.
I don't think so.
I do.
I think he really got a lot out of because he's not like a great skilled basketball player. Out of himself, yeah, he's a douchebag, and you might not want him on your team just because of who he is. But defensively, man, he was just amazing. Maybe you would agree.
I just think he was overrated as a defensive. He was a great defensive player. He's overrated. Like when he won those defensive players of the year, he wasn't even the best defensive player at that year when he won it. LeBron James, 2 out of the 3 defensive players of the year awards that he won, LeBron James was a better defender than he was. And LeBron James did not win it those 2 years. I don't even think LeBron James ever won defensive player of the year. Has he? I don't even think he ever did.
Not sure.
I don't know if he ever should have.
Yes, he should have. Yes,
he was one of the best, but
yes, he should have. Are you kidding me? When LeBron James was his first 10 years, absolutely.
Yeah, but they love him. So why wouldn't they put him on the team? The NBA kisses his ass.
Everybody kisses that man's ass. I don't know what is the love fest for that man. I mean, he's a great player.
By the way, I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart for something. I can't believe I forgot.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, the other day, remember the Yankees won and Clay Holmes. We thought, you thought he was going to blow or whatever, and I wasn't so confident, but I took that and ran with it. When you said that, I made a bet on the Yankees. Good. I went opposite what you said. So I have to thank you for your, going against you. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to continue to bet like that for a year.
Good, do that.
And keep on going against them, Arrow, because no, when you think they're going to lose, they win. Okay, so.
I love that. You have no more.
And, you made me a quick couple hundred. Thank you.
I like this. That's pretty good. You're missing it. You're missing what, Fish posted up. It says, you have no marbles, Brandon Rooney. I'm calling you out. And I'm grabbing my tits,
That's right.
You should take a picture of that one.
So what do you think about Derek White? Because I know you didn't like him. Can you admit that you think he's not a bad pick?
I didn't say he was a bad player. I don't think he should be on the
No, I know that. I think he was a really wise choice for that team.
I don't.
You know what it is? Brown's a little too much. He's not. They don't like him. He can be a dick, but yeah, he's more talented, all right, that's for sure. But
so
White
let me ask you a question.
Just fit with his team, man.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. This is a serious question. So you say Jaylen Brown is a dick. That's what you're saying. He's bad. All right. Nobody likes him. How about Joel Embiid? Why is Joel Embiid on that team? Joel Embiid came out and said that he's probably the most hated player in the NBA. Okay. Why is Joel Embiid on that team then? If Jaylen Brown isn't on that team?
Because he's a big beast. They need height.
That's
size.
That's an excuse. That's just an excuse. They have LeBron James, the greatest player ever. Like Nick Wright comes out and says, which is ridiculous. Okay. It's just ridiculous. That's the problem with a lot of these analysts. And I'm going to say this, Keith, because
Larry Bird, to me, if I had to pick one guy to start a team, I'd pick Bird over anybody.
Larry Bird was a special player. He was. I'd take Michael Jordan.
You know why I would? Including Jordan. I'll tell you why. Not skill-wise, obviously. Better shooter, by far. Just as clutch. The best thing about Bird, he would tell these guys what he's going to do and do it. The shit talker. Magic Johnson, tell you, every player, including Jordan, said he was, the best. But, he made everyone around him better like nobody I've ever seen.
I remember. I watched Larry Bird play. Remember, I watched him in his prime.
He was a better rebounder than Jordan. He was a better passer than Jordan. He was a better shooter than Jordan.
Meanwhile, Larry Bird came out and said that Michael Jordan's the greatest player he's ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But again, he's not going to call himself the greatest player. But, and in my opinion, what I just said was right. Better shooter, better rebounder, better passer. So Jordan played better D, but Bird was a very good defensive player too. So, he has him in almost every aspect of the game.
Michael Jordan was an all-world defensive player. Michael Jordan was probably the most clutch player ever to play. I mean, that guy.
The what?
He was
clutch?
Yeah, he was the most clutch player. Come on, man.
So was Bird. Bird was just as clutch. I think they were.
I would beg
to differ. Believe me, Bird was clutch.
He was. I know. I remember him in the 80s. He was clutch, but
and dude,
he's not Michael Jordan.
They both were great clutch players.
They were.
Hey, like Jordan respect said the thing about Bird that Bird said about Jordan.
All right, do we have
we know Johnny is in, and I'm going to text Chaz on the break.
Right.
People are just saying that because he's white and all that bullshit.
Well, Keith, keep listening. We'll have to let you go because we have Let's Parlay. We have their picks, and then we got to finish up the show.
But your Let's Parlay. Well, you know what? You need to join it so you can say what you're going to do so I can make a fucking killing.
Okay.
Or opposite.
All right.
All right. And remember, once again, it's not a lie if you believe it. Goodbye.
Thank you, Keith. Keith Brody. All right. When we come back, let's parlay. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
Everybody knows the deal that I'm Tommy Scoops, and this is the Loudmouth Sports Minute. And everybody knows the deal, so jumping straight into some NFL. Cowboys QB, Dak Prescott says he is not naive toward the fact that he could be very well playing somewhere else this season, as Prescott, who is entering his final year of his contract, has been pulling teeth with an extension this offseason. Prescott said a ton of QBs have played for other teams, and it's just business if he leaves Dallas for a new team. In other NFL news, the Bengals' first-round rookie tackle, Amarius Mims, was actually carted off the field today in team's practice due to heat exhaustion. But Mims did say that he was fine and he will definitely be at practice tomorrow. And lastly, over in the MLB has released the postseason schedule. The schedule reveals exact times, dates, and networks for every series this postseason, with the World Series starting on October 25th. Going over now to scoops and scores over in the MLB. The Cardinals have a 3-2 lead over the Cubs at the top of the 7th, while the Rockies and Angels are both tied at 0 runs right now at the top of the 2nd. That is all the time I have for you guys right now. I'm kicking it back to the boys for their next segment. Let's parlay.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Willie Whopper, Speedy! Willie Whopper! It's good for both. No, I wouldn't. You ain't that nonsense. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listing for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Before we invite all the guys from Let's Parlay, including Reno, Johnny, and Chaz, Bovada, ladies and gentlemen, go hit our QR code right in the corner, which is going to pop up in just a few seconds. 100% on your first deposit. That means if you invest $100, you'll get $200. If you invest $200, you will get $400. If you invest $400, you will get $800. If you invest $1,200, you will get $2,400. So you have a chance to double your money and bet on Bovada. Go bet on almost anything, including the president election, the Olympics, whatever you want to bet on, you have a chance to bet on. Quarters, periods, whatever you want to bet on. You can withdraw on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, any one of those, and you can make money off of that. And no limitations on what state you are in. You can bet anywhere except New York, because right now it's not legal. Well, it's not legal here with Bovada, at least. All you have to do is click the link right in the corner, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not from New York or the tri-state, there's quite a few states that you could still use Bovada. And hit the link, and you'll have a chance, obviously, to double your money right when you put in you deposit your first amount. So obviously, Bovada is a very, very good betting line, and a lot of people can make some money on that. So you have a chance to win some money. Anyways, we do this every single week. Last week we didn't because we didn't. Everybody was busy, but we do this every single week. Let's parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
All right. The Olympics are over tonight, so you can't bet on this gymnastics, because we know Simone Biles wins the gold medal, and Lee, right? Her name is
Suni Lee. Yes.
Suni Lee wins the bronze, so you can't bet on that. And if you want to, you're going to win. So I don't think you can. Anyways, Reno, Johnny, we haven't seen you in a while. How's everything going? How's the coaching?
Good. My screen's not working right now because I'm on my phone and it's just kind of funky. But yeah, busy. We have a week off. We start our official fall camp in August the 3rd or whatever Monday is. That's day one. I'll be at the school about 6:30 a.m. checking in boys. We have dorms at the school I'm at. It's a private school, so they'll be there for the whole week for that kickoff of fall. And we're kind of rolling. Our first game is in 2 weeks after that, so we're ready to go.
All right, guys, you know what to do. You're going to get 3 picks, and you get your final 4th pick as your parlay. You guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I have a question. I don't know if y'all have like our records that we've given on this show.
Speedy.
I will get it to you after the show. I haven't tracked it in a while.
Well, Speedy hasn't tracked it, but I think Wes is over 500. Johnny, I think you're over 500.
You were 4-0 your last week. I know that. That was like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whatever the last time you were. You were 4-0, though.
Yeah.
All right, so Johnny, you're going to go first, and then Chaz, you're going to go second.
Well, my first play is actually going to be, I'm only going to give out really 3 plays for this week. I'm going to give out 2 and then my money line play, because my first play is actually going to be, I have to do it. It's the start of the NFL. I know it's preseason. I don't give a crap. NFL is NFL. It's back. So my first play is going to be on a team total. Going to take, and this is going to be probably an unpopular play, give me the Commanders over their team total of 6.5. It's at about -120. I think I will say it's a very competitive NFC East. I think the Giants still going to be at the bottom. I saw something for them to make the playoffs at plus 400. I thought that was like that wasn't high enough. I thought you'd get at least 600 for that. But you got to think they're going to play the Giants twice. They're going to play the Cowboys. They're always going to play competitive there. Cowboys, we don't even know who's going to be quarterbacking for them. They got the Buccaneers week 1. They got plenty of winnable games on this schedule. You're going to have some growing pains with Jaden Daniels, but I actually like their core and who they brought in. They're going to have Eckler. They got McLaurin. They got guys on the offense side of the ball. I think Jaden Daniels is actually one of the more accurate rookie quarterbacks we're going to see in a while. He has a real good arm. Of course, the decision making, it's going to be growing pains from LSU to the NFL. But I think they're going to be in a good spot with plenty of opportunities to win a few games. You might see them late in the year at, 6-7, 5-7 sort of deal where they're going to be right around that 6.5 mark. So I like the over on the Commanders, which, in the NFL, for playing in the NFC, I think they're going to have plenty of winnable games. Eagles sometimes mess up on the road. Cowboys not confident. Giants are, pretty even matchup there. So plenty of opportunities for the Commanders to get over their season total. I'm going to be on that one.
All right, Chaz, give us your first pick.
I went back on YouTube and I couldn't really find your Olympic soccer coverage. Have you been talking about it much?
No.
No.
Well, that's all I got, baby.
All right.
No, I was blessed that I hit a 5-teamer with the guys, and then I came back and swept the board the last time the ladies played. I hit all 6 games, and I bet it like a round robin, 5s and 6s. So I cashed all the 5-teamers and a 6-teamer. It was a really, really good day. So I'm doing the same thing. There's 4 games tomorrow. They start 6 o'clock my time, then 6, 8, 10, and 12. So every game is its own little world. The first one is Morocco and the USA. I would imagine it's 9 o'clock there. There's some people be watching this instead of working. Morocco shocked Argentina but lost to Ukraine. USA got whacked by France 3-0, but then they beat the teams they were supposed to beat. Morocco's not necessarily a team they're supposed to be because they're kind of the underdogs. And there are 4 ways you can bet soccer. You can bet it 3-way. It's plus 215. Money line, they're getting a half a goal. That's minus 118. Over a half a goal for the USA is minus 265. And for them to qualify, and that's the one I really like in soccer, is them to qualify. It does all the penalty kicks, all that stuff, it don't matter. Do they play next week or not? Or the other next game? That's kind of how it works. And in this first one, we're taking the first team of our 4-teamers, the USA, to simply score a goal.
All right. Mr. Reno Johnny, give us your second pick.
Yeah, so we are going to take a team total in the MLB. It's going to be a game tomorrow. This team just lost 10-3 tonight. They've been waxed. They've been playing not good baseball. They've actually, luckily the Yankees have also not been playing good baseball. So that division is turning into a little bit of a sweat with the Red Sox kind of creeping up. But I actually like the Orioles tomorrow to hit their team total over 5.5. You can get 4.5 at some extra juice. I'm gonna get a better price at 5.5 against Carlos Carrasco. This guy's been not good for the Guardians. I will say that there's 3 teams that I think really failed at the trade deadline. The first team is going to be the Orioles. The second team is going to be the Yankees, and the third team, who I think did the worst at the trade deadline, is going to be the Guardians. This is a team that, as of right now, not the Phillies, not the Orioles, not the Yankees, not the Astros, the Guardians have the #1 record in baseball, and they didn't do not one thing at this trade deadline to be talking about. Kind of weird. Fans are packing the stadium. Guardian bullpen's been on fire, and ownership just said we're going to stay the course. I think you got to add pieces when you're doing that well in baseball. They did not do it. That means they're still going to have Carlos Carrasco on the bump. He's allowed 6 in back-to-back starts, not long starts. I think this Orioles offense, for their struggles, can still score the ball. They've been able to hit some home runs. They've been able to get on base, play small ball in some of these games. Their bullpen's been blowing it late. I don't trust them to win the game. I don't trust them to win the first 5. win or loss, I do trust him to score over 5.5.
All right, Chaz, give us your second pick.
8 o'clock, my time. I'll be up by then. I won't be up for the 6 o'clock game, but I'll turn it on when I wake up. Japan at Spain. Japan and Spain, it's the home team in these games is really kind of irrelevant. Japan is 3-0, though, after the group. They outscored people 7-0. They're a good team, but I'm taking Spain just on the fact that they are, they're supposed to win this game. So here's how it works. Both the score is going to be one of the plays here. It's plus 102. Spain on the three-way, plus 100. Spain on the money line, plus 105, given a half a goal. To straight win, the over a half goal for Spain is minus 350. That's one of Paulo's plays. And then to qualify, minus 188. That's what we've got for our second place. Spain to simply be playing in the next round, minus 188.
All right, Reno, give us your final pick of the night because you don't have a fourth.
No, I got one more. I just don't have one of my picks is that season total, so it's not going to really tabulate till the end of the year. My second pick, I guess, official pick, is going to be the Yankees on the first five run line in tomorrow's game against the Blue Jays. I think Kevin Gausman's having a real tough year. Yankees are going to have Stroman on the bump. They're getting some of their bats healthy. I actually do like the Jazz Chisholm pickup. I think that's the guy that was struggling in Miami, especially. I think it baffled some people because the last 10 games, I think he was batting like 194. He was struggling during that trade deal. But since going to New York, a little rejuvenation in the bat, he's got speed on the bases. He's going to push the envelope. If he gets a gapper to go for 3 or a single that he might be able to push for 2, he's going to generate some offense. You got Aaron Judge. By the way, I don't know if y'all know this, how much I hate talking about the Yankees when I talk about them in a good way. It's really hurtful here. But Aaron Judge, MVP candidate. They're about to get Soto back. I think this is a team that can hit against anybody, and Goslin's really been struggling. On top of that, the Blue Jays, I think, on par for maybe the biggest disappointment coming into this season. I thought they were supposed to be competing in the American League East. We know it's the toughest division in baseball. I still believe that, especially with the Red Sox coming up. The Rays kind of sold at the trade deadline here, but the Blue Jays just never really got stuff going. Vladimir Guerrero took a while to get off, and now he's been able to do some stuff. I just don't trust their lineup top to bottom. I think the New York Yankees can win the first 5. Give me the spread on the first 5 to buy back a little bit of that juice.
All right, Chaz, give us your third.
10 o'clock, my time. Egypt and Paraguay are playing. Egypt's 2-1 in the first groups, and they scored 3 total goals in 3 games. Paraguay got whacked by Japan 5-0, but then they scored 5 times in the next 2 games. I got 4 plays on this game. I got Paraguay plus 160 on the three-way, minus 118 on the money line, and that's a push, which is like better than a draw no bet for sure. Over a half is minus 285, and to qualify is minus 118. They're going to score. So we're taking a half goal, minus 285.
All right, Reno, give us your final pick.
Final pick of the day is going to be the over in the first 5 of the Reds and Giants. They're going to play tomorrow at Great America. We already know that's a very hitter-friendly park. I know that at first glance, you look at who's pitching, it's going to be Harrison versus Abbott. Both guys have got really respectful ERAs. However, this park's not going to lend to the conditions. It's an earlier game as well. Ball should be flying out. You're also going to get a good value at 4.5 on the first half over just because of the pitchers coming into this game. I think the Reds offense can get a couple home runs, get Elliot Cruz going on the bases, and you can get a couple early runs for both teams, at least at most, or at minimum, 2-2, 2-3, and you can either push or win that game. So I like the over in the first 5 at 4.5, 4.5, depending on your book. I would take whatever number you can get with the best juice.
All right, Chaz, give us your final pick.
Last game of the day, France and Argentina. These are 2 of the big names, of course, in the world in soccer, and we're going to take Argentina. They are the favorite. France is 3-0. They've outscored their opponents 7-0. They haven't given up a goal yet. Argentina lost their opener, then they outscored their opponents 5-1 in the next 2. So we're going to bet both to score on here. We're taking Argentina plus 110. We're going to take them on the money line minus 125, giving a half a goal. We assume they're going to score more than a half goal, so we're going to go minus 365 there. And to qualify, minus 175. So that's what we're doing. We got a 4-teamer. USA scores a goal. Spain qualifies. Paraguay scores a goal. France qualifies, plus 343.
All right, quickly before we go, West sent over a couple other CFL picks. So he's got Saskatchewan covering minus 5.5 at home against Edmonton on Saturday. Calgary covering 1.5 at home against Toronto on Sunday. And then Hamilton covering plus 3.5 underdogs at home against Montreal.
All right, boys. We really appreciate the time. I know you guys are obviously we're over our time. We have 3 stories we have to get into before we're done. So we have a lot. And I know you guys are definitely going to want to listen to this. This is a lot of crazy stuff. So
go get them, guys. Always be cashing.
I want to thank y'all for having me. And just one more comment. Fish,
go ahead.
you may not like the information, but I win a lot of bets. I'll see y'all next week.
Oh, Reno Johnny. The great Reno Johnny. I think that was a shot at Fish. Right
yeah,
there.
that's what he said. He's saying that Lane Thomas was a good move at the deadline when Reno Johnny said that he didn't do enough at the deadline. So that was the private chat bantering.
All right, so let's get to the final stories of the night. Chicago Bears tight end Mercedes Lewis called Caleb Williams a lot like Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Lewis played with the Packers from 2018 to 2022 during 2 of Aaron Rodgers' MVP seasons. Paul Pierce called this statement a great psychological boost for Williams. Keyshawn Johnson, here's another one, said he should focus on chasing C.J. Stroud and not Aaron Rodgers. Skip Bayless says to take that comment seriously because Lewis has been in the league since 2006. Williams is thought to have the greatest supporting cast any rookie quarterback has ever had. DJ Moore just signed a 4-year, $110 million deal, and there is belief that Keenan Allen will too before the start of the season. If you give Keenan Allen a 4-year deal, you're out of your damn freaking mind, okay? Keenan Allen is how old? I mean, he's as old as dirt. He had a great season last year. Good for him, okay? And he's still a quality player, but he's going to eventually move into the slot. He is not he's not going to be an outside guy much longer. This guy's come back from many, many different injuries. I love Caleb Williams. Is he Aaron Rodgers? Only time will tell. His accurate throwing ability is there. Aaron Rodgers is known for his accuracy. He's probably the most accurate quarterback to ever play the game. Mercedes Lewis is playing with Caleb Williams. Of course, he's going to blow his head up. He wants everybody to believe that this guy's the next Aaron Rodgers. There is nobody that is Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not just saying that because he's on the Jets. I've always thought very highly of Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen live in front of my eyes. Now, I've seen a lot of great guys. I've seen Joe Montana play. I've seen Steve Young play, but at the tail end of their careers. I look at what Caleb Williams could do. As long as he doesn't cry and complain about things we've seen in college football, this guy could be a stud. And yes, I would agree with Paul Pierce. I'm not Paul Pierce, Keyshawn Johnson. I would chase C.J. Stroud before I bring my name up with Aaron Rodgers. C.J. Stroud right now is the best young quarterback we've seen ever. The rookie season that he had was just absolutely unbelievable. And the numbers that he was putting up, especially in the second half, was untouchable. I don't know if we'll ever see a quarterback do that. Andrew Luck didn't do it. Aaron Rodgers didn't do it when he got a chance to do it after Brett Favre retired. Any one of these guys. C.J. Stroud is special. We'll see if he could do it in his sophomore year. It's hard to believe when you hear Keyshawn Johnson and Paul Pierce and even Skip Bayless open their mouth and bring up and compare them or even agree to other people like Mercedes Lewis. Now, Mercedes Lewis had a long career in the NFL, and he's still in the NFL. He came into the NFL in 2006. It's 2024. I mean, you're a tight end that's been in a league for almost 20 years. I mean, that's incredible. It really is an incredible career. Mercedes Lewis is not even a Hall of Famer. So why would I even listen to Mercedes Lewis? If I'm going to ask a tight end, I'd like to hear from George Kittle. I'd like to hear from Travis Kelce. I'd like to hear from Gronkowski. One of these guys, obviously would be something that I would want to listen to. When I'm hearing it from Mercedes Lewis, I know he played with Aaron Rodgers. Good for him. Aaron Rodgers is a player that is not going to be mimicked. There are guys that you could say, and there are guys like, everybody says Kobe Bryant was the closest thing to Michael Jordan. He wasn't Michael Jordan. He wasn't. Stop thinking that he was. And for all you people saying that, he was the closest thing. Yeah, he was the closest thing. He wasn't Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan would tell you he wasn't Michael Jordan. And Kobe Bryant would tell you, may God rest his soul, wasn't Michael Jordan. Okay? And now to go to Paul Pierce and it's a psychological boost. How is this a psychological boost? You think that he said that to give him a boost? He actually believes Caleb Williams is Aaron Rodgers-esque in his prime. Aaron Rodgers-esque in his prime. We don't even know what he is going to be on a football field. We have seen what we have seen in college. He hasn't even played in an NFL game. His talent around him is unbelievable. There's no question. Is Keenan Allen going to put up the numbers he did last year with Justin Herbert? Well, the first 5-6 games, it wasn't with Justin Herbert. It was with a backup quarterback. Is DJ Moore going to be healthy this year for a full season? Because he never is. And here's this. Odunze looks like a special player. Is he going to stay on the field? We don't know what the Chicago Bears are going to be. So to say that Caleb Williams is Aaron Rodgers or he's Aaron Rodgers-esque, only time will tell. And to bring it up, it's just ludicrous. I don't understand it. And I don't want to hear from Keyshawn Johnson anymore or Paul Pierce or Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, you're retiring. You're doing whatever you're doing. Why are you leaving your show? Because you're an idiot. Keyshawn Johnson, you're on the show because you're an idiot. And Paul Pierce, you're trying to blow up your name and build your podcast. I give you all the credit in the world. I love some of your takes. You're out of your damn mind. There is nobody that could be compared right now to Aaron Rodgers. Not even CJ Stroud, because CJ Stroud, as good as he was last year, in the best time, his best part of his season last year was anywhere close to what Aaron Rodgers was. So it's ridiculous. So I don't think any of these guys are close to Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so it's just ridiculous. Caleb Williams is going to be special. And what did I tell you, Speedy? Caleb Williams has the talent to be the best ever. That's how talented he is. I think he is the best and most talented player I've seen come out of college, better than Andrew Luck, better than any of those guys. I've never seen a guy as talented as Caleb Williams. But that doesn't mean it's going to produce or that talent's going to show up on an NFL field.
Yeah, the traits are there. And I think Mercedes Lewis is probably getting at that more than anything else. But like we were saying before, like this supporting cast is a lot better than what the Packers had when Aaron Rodgers his first year as a starter. They didn't have much of a running game at all. They had one or two random years of Ryan Grant, and then they were struggling to find a running back for a while. Tight ends, 1 year of Finley before he got hurt. Receivers were decent, but not as good as these receivers. Keenan Allen and DJ Moore are both number one receivers, and Odunze could be a number one receiver. Komet's a top 10 tight end. Aaron Rodgers never had that kind of supporting cast either. So what'll be the interesting thing with Caleb Williams is how he overcomes that adversity. You're talking about the crying, the emotion that he shows. I'm not going to say that's as big of a deal as people blow it out to be, but you look at that kind of thing from a leadership perspective. He needs to show that on the field first before you can say Aaron Rodgers at level S, because the Packers are in the playoffs pretty much every year. We'll see if the Bears are right now.
Yeah, I just, it's kind of out of control when you hear somebody, and even Mercedes Lewis, who's been in the league for a very, very long time. And I respect his opinion. And I like Caleb Williams. I think he's special. I really do. I think he's going to be really, 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 really fun to watch. But I think Chicago just threw Justin Fields to the water, the Wolves out of the water. They drowned him. I mean, they didn't give him the weapons. No. And here's the thing. This is the same thing that the Giants did to Tom Coughlin as a coach. They let Tom Coughlin retire or walk away from the Giants, and then they brought Ben McAdoo in. And what did they do? They gave Ben McAdoo the defensive players that he was asking for after he decided to step down or the Giants decided to move on from him. I know quarterback and coach are two separate things to look at, but this is the problem. You give up on a player, you give up on a coach, and that's what happens. You decide, hey, you know what? This is how I'm going to push this guy out. This is how I'm going to push this coach out. I'm not going to give him what he wants, and he's going to want out. And I think Caleb Williams, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him because he's got a lot to prove as an NFL player, and he's being compared already to Aaron Rodgers and CJ Stroud, and he's going to have to put up the numbers. If he don't put up numbers like CJ Stroud, everybody's going to say, oh, you know, he looks like a good player, but he's not CJ Stroud. So,
and he should with that supporting cast in theory, with how much that they could throw the ball capability wise and that scheme with Shane Waldron. Like he should have, if he doesn't have numbers close to that kind of thing, it looks like kind of a disappointing rookie year.
Fish, your opinion?
Mercedes Lewis has been playing. Was he 38? He's my age. So it feels like he's my age, somewhere around there. He's pretty old, and it's really fascinating to see the few positions where guys play to this age, right? Quarterbacks can play till they're 40 and plus, as we've seen recently. We're just talking about one right now with Aaron Rodgers. The tight end playing this long is only for one reason. It's because they know how to block better than anyone. He's 40 years old, Mercedes Lewis, Tommy Scoops with the scoop. It's really crazy to be able to play in the NFL. Now, obviously, you got to stay in shape, but the skill of blocking, and as someone who coaches blocking on offensive line, and we're getting into preseason in a couple of weeks, I'm real geared up for my high school team.
Couple of weeks this weekend. This weekend,
Well,
isn't it it's the Hall of Fame game, isn't it? So,
I'm saying high school football. We got preseason coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to be out there in the fields just trying to get everybody going with the blocking. And I'm telling you right now, Mercedes Lewis is like the guy you want to show tape of to kids. You want to show him blocking and why he's still in the league. There's a reason. Only guys that know how to do this in elite level, body positioning, having balance, having power angles when you come out of your stance, being under control, working together, getting hip to hip on double teams, chipping when you're coming in, getting a D end before you go out into your route, blocking down and then getting open on play actions because you're not fast. You just know how to get open. And that's what he's done his whole career. And there's value in that until you're 40 years old. It's a really wonderful thing to see. Before we go, I gotta call back to Reno Johnny. Reno Johnny, we love you over here. I have my favorite graphic that I have is of for all the Let's Parlay guys is of you. It's from my favorite movie as a kid, Little Giants, and they got Mugatu from Zoolander in it, saying that Reno Johnny's so hot right now.
You know what was on last night? Zoolander 2. Has anybody seen Zoolander 2?
It's not as good, but not bad movie.
It was all right. I like Zoolander.
Right.
People take parts and take content out of Zoolander and use it for their own. So it's the same thing with Will Ferrell's Talladega Nights and also Semi Pro. I love that movie. Semi Pro is great. Is great. But I want to get into these next two stories. Hard Knocks episode 5, and we'll bring. I'm sure you have your own opinion to it because you Giant fans showed a process during the NFL draft that the Giants were drafting Malik Neighbors at number 6 overall. Brian Dable said that he had Malik Neighbors as his number 1 overall wide receiver over Rome Odunze and Marvin Harrison Jr. The Colts were reportedly trying to trade up from number 15 to number 6 with the Giants and were willing to give up a second-round pick this year and next year. The Jets were willing also to trade up from 10 to 6 with the Giants to get Rome Odunze. It was also revealed that Joe Schoen had very little thought of wanting to keep Xavier McKinney. The Giants let go of Julian Love last offseason and have drafted safeties in each of their last 2 drafts. It's very simple. This whole Hard Knocks, 5 episodes, and now it's over. Thank God, because honestly, it was nothing more than Joe Schoen. All they did was follow Joe Schoen, his family life, what Joe Schoen thinks. And I'm going to tell you this right now. John Mara was not happy that Saquon Barkley went to the Eagles. He said, anybody but the Eagles. I do not want to see him in the same division. He did not look happy. And listen, Joe Schoen played it off like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll see if you're going to be fine when you have the chance to play Saquon Barkley twice this year. And Saquon Barkley is going to have that marked on his board to play the New York Giants and embarrass the New York Giants. What do I think about the New York Giants this draft? It's hard to believe, as much as that's what they were trying to sell on Hard Knocks, that they had Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. That's what they're selling. If Marvin Harrison Jr. was sitting there, I don't think Giant fans would have been happy to see Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison. Speedy, would you have liked to see if Marvin Harrison Jr. was sitting there at 6, them take Malik Neighbors? Honestly,
no.
I'm going to tell you this. If you ask 10 Giant fans right now, who would you want, Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr.? I think every single one of you guys, every single one of you would take Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not to take away how good Malik Neighbors is going to be. I think he's special. I think he's one of the best route runners we've seen in a very, very long time come out of this draft. LSU wide receivers are very successful. Ask Justin Jefferson. Ask Odell Beckham. Ask any of them. There's so many great wide receivers that have came. Jamar Chase came out from LSU. So I'm not taking this away from Malik Neighbors and how special he is. I just think it's everything that I saw on this Hard Knocks is just, it just shows me where the Giants are heading. Now, this could be a good draft, and you can't tell me that everybody was happy about the first 3 picks with the New York Giants, bringing in Nubin. I know if you watch those episodes, they wanted a corner. They wanted one of those corners in the second round. They did not want to bring in a safety. They were reaching when they brought in Nubin, even though Nubin was the best safety on their board, and some people thought the best safety in this draft. And Xavier McKinney, we knew that they weren't bringing back Xavier McKinney, and he got the second most money out of a safety and safeties in the NFL. Do I think Xavier McKinney is worth $17 million a year? No, I don't. But guess what? The Green Bay Packers do. So I'm questioning what Joe Schoen has done, and the fact that he was asking his children is a joke. I mean, I don't know what he was trying to do. Maybe he was trying to be funny, because I really don't care what his son thinks. I don't care what his daughters think. As a matter of fact, his daughter didn't even know what he was talking about, his younger daughter. And the fact that she pointed and who did she pick? I'm sorry, the quarterback for the Patriots, Drake May. She picked Drake May. I mean, it was just eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay. I just think the problem with the New York Giants doing what they did here, it just shows you how incompetent this executive pool of scouts that they have. And again, I don't know what these scouts are going to be, or if they're future GMs as they believe that they are. I just think that Joe Schoen, it's a make or break year for him. And John Mara and his brothers, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe if they don't win more than 6 or 7 games this year with this roster, that he's going to be back. And his son saying to his friends in school, saying that, trust my father. Really? Trust your father? Let's go look at his past drafts. Why is Evan Neal not going to be a starter this year? It tells me that maybe Joe Schoen doesn't know what he's doing in a draft. Maybe Joe Schoen is so high on himself and has such an ego or an ego trip that he just believes that bringing in Motor, he's going to run the ball just as good as Saquon. It's ridiculous. I'm not even going to give you the words because Speedy doesn't like it, but I'm going to tell you this right now. That Hard Knocks season, 5 episodes of the New York Giants, honestly, if you're a Giant fan, you should be embarrassed of who your GM is and what your owner thinks of your GM moving forward going into a new season.
Yeah, the talent pool was definitely there with the wide receivers.
Oh, and by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off. And Daniel Jones, your trust in Daniel Jones, which, by the way, you were looking to move up, which shows, if I was Daniel Jones and I was watching that episode, I would be pissed off knowing that you're showing that and that my team was looking to move up to bring in Drake May or any one of those quarterbacks. It shows you my trust, your trust in what you paid me, and your trust in what you think of me going into this season.
Which we knew was going to happen anyway, because the Commanders of the Patriots were going to play hardball.
Should have given Saquon Barkley the money and not give Daniel Jones the money.
So that scenario seemed inevitable, that it wasn't going to work to trade up for one of those guys anyway, because those two teams, Commanders in the division, the Patriots with the past history, we're not going to let that kind of thing happen. So the wide receiver pool or O-line was going to be the move. So him revealing Neighbors, he was going to be there the whole time over Harrison, and we're going to take him anyway. Yeah, no, you're just saying that because you knew Harrison wasn't going to fall to you anyway, so use your wide receiver one. Will he be good? I still think he'll be good, but it's only time will tell. As far as the trading back and stuff, I don't know if I would have done it with the Jets. It would have been tough to tell what you were going to get in that spot. If you're going to trade back, you're probably going to do it for offensive.
They were never trading
capital
with the Jets from 10 to 6. They were never doing that. Out of all the teams, the only team that they had a chance to going and hooking up with was probably the Bears from 6 to 9. Yeah. That was the only team.
Yeah, the only team that made sense, I think, probably would have been something in that range of a team trying to trade up for a quarterback because there were 6 quarterbacks taken. Now, I don't think anyone expected 6 quarterbacks to be taken that much, but we knew a lot of quarterbacks were going to be taken. So it would have probably only been one of those teams in the teens that would have been doing that. But the Giants still run a risk of not being able to get those offensive linemen in there because we've seen offensive line drafts that run up into the top 10 either the same way. And a lot of those teams at the same time needed it. So I don't think either one of those trades.
And I wanted to cut you off over here. And out of all those episodes that I saw that Brian Daboll says, it goes. Anything that Brian Daboll said on who he wants or what he wants, it seems like he's the GM and the coach. It had nothing to do with Joe Schoen. Every single time you saw Brian Daboll sit down and talk to the owners and talk to who was asking the questions? Who was asking the questions to usually the GM's asking the question. Who was asking the questions when you were bringing these rookies in? It was Brian Daboll. Every single Joe Schoen was sitting right next to him. It was all about Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll, and that's why Brian Dable's still there, and a lot of these coaches walked out because they already know who runs the roast over there. It's Brian Daboll. It's not Joe Schoen.
And we were talking about like getting the value with some of the positions too, which I think both offensive line and corner outside of Banks, who I think has played well last year, they haven't gotten the greatest value out of a lot of those key positions. Offensive line, especially at wide receiver, they have to figure out. And I think Joe Schoen has drafted well when it comes to like second tier positions, when it comes to linebacker, safety, some of the interior offensive linemen. Schmidt's drafting him last year, I thought was good, but he's got to do better at key positions. And that's where I think the process of them thinking Neighbors as a prospect was going to be better than Harrison maybe shows where they are as in terms of a scouting department. And the second round too, like, yeah, Fish, you were talking to me about Newbin and have more optimism than I do, but I still think the value of the offensive line was still there where they could have drafted the kid the Chiefs took or somebody else on the interior to fill that out.
I think you have to address the guys that you lost, right? They lost Xavier McKinney, who was their best secondary player last year. So they kind of felt like once, and on the draft, they showed they wanted Kool-Aid. They really wanted Kool-Aid, and he went too early. And they didn't want to trade up for him, which I think is a mistake. You said we'd have to give up a 4. Well, give up like next year's 4 and like a 7. And then you can, instead of this year's 4, and you'll be able, or whatever it would take, it wouldn't take that much more, and get your guy. Like, if that's the guy you wanted, you should have went and got him. I think an outside corner is more important than a safety. They've got Dane Belton playing back there over Newbin right now in camp, and I've been following camp. I think the good news is the 3rd round pick is going to start in the slot. He apparently is very, very good. Drew Phillips. The reports are coming out that he's basically already won that job, and he's going to be excellent. So that's great news. As far as Neighbors is wowing them all from day one, going at Banks. Iron sharpens iron. You love to see it. I think Daboll is the one that wanted Neighbors over Harrison. I think there's a reason for it. I think the real reason is the way Daboll wants to run offense. Daboll wants to run offense to have more like novelty plays, more gadgety stuff than just having a receiver who's great at everything like Harrison. You're not necessarily going to scheme up kind of like more plays that are just going to try to get him in space. Because all you really want is Neighbors in space, a la Tyreek Hill, in that kind of situation. So
Fish, I got a question to ask you. I'm sorry to cut you off. I have a really good question for you. If you had a choice, if Neighbors and Harrison was sitting right there, who you picking?
I take the guy who does everything. But that's just me. I think Daboll is that kind of offensive play caller, and now he's going to call plays this year. That's official. It's not going to be Kafka.
Now you're both Giant fans, okay? And you both said Harrison Jr. Both of you said Harrison Jr. Scoops, if you had a choice between Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, who would you have chosen?
I'm probably grabbing the best wide receiver on the board, Harrison, right there.
So I rest my case. That's 3 Giant fans, and I'm not even a Giant fan. I'm going Harrison Jr. too. It just shows you how dumb they really are. It embarrasses the Giants. And I don't care what any Giant fan, it was great. Hard Knocks was great. We got a chance to get to know our GM. Your GM's an idiot. That's what he is. He's a fool, and he looks like as dumb as did you see John Mara's face after Saquon Barkley signed with the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you see how angry he was? Dude, he walked out of that office. He didn't have anything to say. And all he could say to John Mara is, and it was so funny, he says, "Don't worry, we'll be okay." And John Mara gave him a look. He says, "Okay," and he walked right out, and he just walked out of the office. Meanwhile, he was shaking his head when he was walking away. So what does that tell you about John Mara? I mean, obviously, John Mara thinks his GM's an idiot. So it's going to be embarrassing if he actually shows up to those games.
I do want to say something about John Marrero real quickly. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine.
I'm shocked at how passionate he is. He came off a lot better of an owner than I thought he was going to come off in this. If anyone came off good, it was him, in my opinion. Where it showed how much he cared, how he wanted to hear from his guy why these decisions are being made. Tell him, look, I'm not going to like this. And even though he does it anyways, like, okay, well, now you have to, you're putting it out there. If you don't come through now, it's his ass. And I think he kind of made it clear to him that was the case without saying it. And I think that's kind of a good leadership tactic to take with a guy like Joe Schoen, who just seems to be, he came off as just this very sweet gentleman from the Midwest. And not so much the guy you want to, have the juice to be a general manager dealing with these other 31 guys trying to get players, trying to get advantages. The only advantage he got, arguably, if you believe Brian Burns is going to be good, that he was able to take advantage of his old friend Dan Morgan. That's not really the same thing as dealing with the other 30 general managers in the league who you didn't work with personally. So I'm very concerned about Joe Schoen after this. I thought Dable came off kind of like a boss, like kicking back with cigars and stuff. I loved watching Dable. I love that guy. And I was really thrilled with Mara. I did not expect to see that. So I was very pleasantly surprised with John Mara. And I felt like I had to say that.
All right, Scoops, your thoughts?
I mean, just as a Giants fan, I mean, we have to just move past this like little Joe Schoen phase. I mean, just seeing the work that Schoen has done in the Hard Knocks. I mean, look at the draft episode. Look at the process with the free agency where he's kind of just kicking back. He's talking to Saquon while leaning back on the phone like he's chilling. Like, my question is, why does it act like he's playing a game? Like, he's acting like he's playing franchise mode in Madden, which is a video game that, you can let guys go, make believe money to bring other people in. Like, this move, this looking incompetent as he has so far, it turns me off as a Giants fan. I mean, like, all I'm sitting here thinking is, like, when is it that he's going to get fired? Because all it is like, I'm thinking, like, is it going to be week 6, week 4? Is it going to be after the Giants and Eagles matchup? And I wanted to bring up something that Fish just said, too, with the Malik Neighbors and all, is that I do believe, too, that Dable is the one that, like, heavily, of course, wanted Neighbors. And, of course, him picking Neighbors and Neighbors looks like $1 million, of course, that'll help Dable, too. But it'll also, because like I said, too, Schoen is going to get fired eventually. Like, I'm almost certain, like, we're going to see Schoen fired during the midseason. It's going to be after the Eagles and Giants matchup once Saquon runs all over the team.
That's the end of the season. So I think they play the Eagles at both games are really at the tail end of the season.
I think the first matchup's like week 5 or 6. Something like that.
I'll look at that. Go ahead.
But my point is that if Neighbors is playing good at the time that they have the Eagles matchup, I think Dable somewhat would get a pass till the end of the season. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, that like Dable has planned to like up his sleeve with Neighbors and this season going forward. Because like I said, it makes him look like $1 million. Dable most likely will have a job after this season if Neighbors plays really, really well.
I'm looking right now. I'm checking. It's October 20th is their first time they play Philadelphia.
That's week
7 probably.
7 or 8 or something, 7 or 8. But yeah, I'm interested to see how that's going to work out for the Giants. I don't think it's going to bode well for them. I think I expect Saquon Barkley. And listen, Saquon was over there at Penn State, and you saw a lot of the the scouts and a lot of the coaches over there, and he has love for the Giants organization. But I think he was wrongly treated by the New York Giants. I think they should have offered him, at least give him an offer, even if they weren't going to be able to match the $37 million that he got and the 20-something million guaranteed that he got from the Eagles. At least give him an offer and show him that you gave a shit about him. I mean, seriously, if I was Saquon and I was who I was, and I'm one of the greatest running backs the Giants have ever had, if not maybe the greatest. And even if it was 3 great years, I mean, how many Giant running backs had those seasons like that by himself? I mean, it shows me that the organization is incompetent, and he knows that, and he's probably happy he's going to Philadelphia because they have a better chance of winning than the Giants do. So it's a shame. It really is. I feel bad for Saquon. I really do. But again, Saquon has those games marked on his calendar, and I'm sure so do the Eagles. I know the Giant fans are going to kill Saquon and want to throw him to the wolves, but you can't hate on somebody that was trying to make the money and trying to get, give back to his family. I mean, not many people get a chance to play professional football. And when you have a chance to take care of your family's family, you do whatever it takes to do that. And Saquon Barkley did what he was supposed to do as a father, as a husband, and as a man. And you cannot attack Saquon taking the money because Joe Shane didn't give him the offer that he wanted. So my opinion on that one. Final story. Former USA gymnast MyKayla Skinner took shots at Team USA's work ethic with the rest of the gymnasts besides Simone Biles. Skinner was on the team in 2021 that featured the other 3 gymnasts who won the gold in the team event on Tuesday. After winning the gold in the team event, Biles took shots at Skinner on Instagram, saying, "Lack of talent, lazy Olympic champions." Gymnast Suni Lee also took shots at Skinner, saying, "We ended you." Simone Biles won her 6th Olympic gold medal and 9th overall medal in women's all-around final today, while Suni Lee got the bronze. I will say this. I don't know MyKayla Skinner in a hole in a wall. I really don't. I remember her. I don't know her. So I can't really take shots at what she said and what she knows, and maybe she's medal, which they did. So it doesn't make any sense. So I could understand why Simone and Simone's sticking up for the girls. Obviously, this is her last hurrah as an Olympic champion. She's going to retire after this. She's made a lot of money off her endorsement. She's going to make a lot more. She's going to be the face of women's gymnastics for the next 25, 30 years. I don't think the United States will ever have a gymnast this good, as dominant as she has been over the last 10, 15 years in United States history. I mean, she's as decorated as you can win gold medals and be a superstar player. I just think MyKayla is jealous. Yeah, that's what I would think. It's a jealousy statement. Even though when she won the gold medal, because she did win the gold medal 4 years ago, she was a part of that team, and she's trying to compare her team to that team. And maybe she's taking shots at Suni Lee. I don't know.
All the other 3 were on that team because remember Biles had to step away.
Maybe she's taking shots at Suni Lee. I wouldn't be attacking these girls. I would being, gracious on what they have done and bringing back a gold medal, another team gold medal. When was the last time you can remember back-to-back 4 years that Team USA brings back 2 team gold medals? I don't remember the last time that's happened.
Yeah, it's something too that's very hard to do in a precision sport like gymnastics as well, and that's why the statement of lacking work
dominance. That's what it is.
Yeah, and the statement of lacking work ethic for something like that is just ridiculous in itself. And she's a gymnast; she should know it herself. It's not like you're seeing another sports athlete taking shots at her that maybe she's overblown or something, like we were talking about with Caitlin Clark. Like this is a precision sport. Like you're judging these tricks that are much harder than anything we talk about. All the historic gymnastics; these are a lot harder than what they did in the 80s and the 90s. Like it's more difficult. It's much more precise, and you're taking shots at all 3 players, all 3 gymnasts that were on the team with you in 2021 with Biles leaving. Like you're not taking shots at just one. It's Suni Lee, it's Jade Carey, and Jordan Childs, and they're all winning gold. She won a bronze in an individual, Suni Lee. So it makes you look bad. It makes you look bad as an Olympian because all these precision sports, all these timing sports take forever to train, more than you see a lot of these team sport athletes do to the same way. They're not practicing all the time. They're trained because it's your craft. And in gymnastics especially, it's extremely difficult.
And the fact that you're friends with Simone Biles and Biles is taking shots at you only tells you the type of person that you are, the jealous type of person that you are. And unfortunately, I think that this takes away how special this is for Team USA when somebody out of Team USA gymnastics out of nowhere is taking shots at the team, because I know she's 27 years old and I know she's done, she's retired. But to say something like this and take a shot at a bunch of girls that had nothing to do with, the comments that MyKayla had, it's really embarrassing for Team USA gymnastics. It really is, for all the great things they've done so far in the Olympics in France.
It also is embarrassing too. Suni Lee actually overcame an illness, a
Yep.
major illness,
Yep.
to even get to this point too. And you're going to take shots at her for not having any work ethic when she had to overcome so many diseases just to get to this point and be on the team. Nevertheless, perform the way she did. She was great in the team event too, in addition to winning the bronze as well. So all that she has to overcome. Plus, she does work in college gymnastics. I believe she was with Auburn, and she does great with that. Like, that takes a lot to be able to do that kind of thing. And you're going to say she has no work ethic when she's overcoming a major disease to get to this point is ridiculous.
It's probably the other people on the team more than Suni Lee. She's obviously been a medalist. The problem they have with this is like one of those things where it's like, well, my Olympics group was better than that one. And we have Simone, and Simone was the one that I think she's so good that it's like you want to work harder for her. And I think what MyKayla is trying to take a positive spin, because I feel like it's a pretty negative thing to say. But if you're trying to find an excuse for it, I think she's just trying to say that we worked harder because we saw that greatness.
How would you know? Are you there? How would you know?
No, well,
I'm
just saying, it's like the only way I can understand it. It's the only way I can understand it, because otherwise it just comes off as spiteful. It comes off as petty.
All right.
You know?
So we do a show, right? Okay. And people come out and they tell us your work ethic sucks. You don't, your show is crap. We don't like your show because you don't show your content isn't better than all the content in the industry right now. So you know what? Even though our content is the same, and I think we give just more humor to our content, but that's my opinion. That doesn't mean that I'm going to go out there and throw people under the bus. If people ask me the truth, I'm going to tell you the truth. But I'm not going to go out of my way and say, hey, you know what? Nick Wright sucks. I'm not going to do that, even though in my God honest opinion, I'm better than he is. But but you got to come to me and you got to ask me that. I'm not just going to go out of the way and say, you know what, Nick Wright, you stink, which I don't think he stinks. I think Nick Wright is very talented. He is where he is in this business because of his talent, not because I'm out there trying to beat him or out there trying to outduel him on my content. It's competition. It's not about what you know, or it's about who you know. And that's our business. In this business, listen, talent rises to the top. Everybody knows that. So if MyKayla Skinner's coming out and saying that this team lacks, work ethic, I want to know, what do you know about this team and their work ethic? Are you there practicing with them? Are you there in Paris watching them? How would you know? How do you know? So it just, to me, it's just trying to sell something and trying to bring this and take away what this team has done. And it's special. It really is special. And unfortunately, for everything MyKayla did for Team USA gymnastics, this takes away all the good things she's done and throws it all the way to the dirt. So unfortunately,
she was a vault specialist when Simone had to step away.
And she won the silver.
Yep. And she did very well in the team event in 21. And now it's going to be forever tarnished for the rest of these girls and the rest of the whole team, even the new ones coming in, for what she said.
She loves this. She loves this. It's just putting her right back on the top. It's taking away for all the great things that Simone has done. And this is going to be the talk of the town after the Olympics, because Simone's going to go over there on these talk shows, and they're going to ask her about MyKayla. And she's going to say no comment. But MyKayla, as soon as you bring up that, and these talk show hosts, one of them is going to bring it up because they like to stir up stuff. They love to stir up stuff. And that Simone's not going to have any answer to it, or she's going to smirk and she's going to smile. To me, it just takes away all the great things that this gymnastics team has really accomplished this year in Paris. So
yeah, and it just, for somebody that's been with all four of them as well, like, it's not like you're an outsider. Like, you see it all. You see how rigorous the training is.
Yeah, it's difficult
for the Olympics.
So I'm almost 6'3", over 250 pounds generously. Well, a decent amount more than that. No one's going to confuse me with being a gymnast. However, I have been a shot put coach, and I was a shot put captain of my track team. And it's one of those things where, how people are constantly working at a golf swing. Well, we were always working on your footwork, how to land it right, how to have those power angles, what lifting exercises, how to gain every advantage you can. And that's the same type of thing that you do as a gymnast. You're trying to master every single thing. I watched that American from Penn State, speaking of Penn State, with the glasses, do the horse. And we get the bronze medal and clinch the bronze medal for the first gymnastics all-around medal for the team for USA in 20 years or something like that.
Yep.
And it was one of those things that you could, and it's the only thing he does. He doesn't do any of the other events. He's a specialist. And you have to be so good to be a specialist because, we need guys to get more points because one event can only get you so many points. Say one event gets you 10 points in a meet. If you come in, second twice, that's more, that's actually more points. So you kind of want to have someone who could do more than one event. But this guy was so good, he won it. It's because it's almost like you're obsessive compulsive with what you're doing. Like I haven't thrown a shot put in a decade, and I guarantee you I could still land my feet exactly the same way that you're supposed to do it with the muscle memory because of how much I've had to do it. I think, again, I'm making excuses, but I think that's like, if you're a gymnast, you can see, if they're doing the work, if they're putting it in. And maybe she just didn't see it. And maybe she's bored. Maybe she's on social media. Maybe
It's
she
boredom. It's just her. It's just her trying to be the center stage. Center stage again, being that the Olympics are here. It's to me, I think this story is just bull. I don't even know why we're talking about it because it takes away for all the greatness of what this gymnastics team. And congratulations to Simone Biles tonight or today, winning her second gold medal, the first gold medalist in a competition, gymnast competition, to win a gold medal over the age of 20. So
before we get off the topic, I want to give a quick shout out. I actually coached one Olympian in the Olympics this year and had been working around, coached against another Olympian. Jaden Marchand is in the 4x4 for Trinidad and Tobago relay team. Shout out to him. I was his middle school basketball coach. He was my power forward. We did a lot of Kevin Love type passes down court, trying to get guys open. Love that kid. Congratulations. Good luck. And Eric Favors is the shot putter for Ireland who qualified. He's half Irish. And I saw this kid throw shot puts in the Armory in Harlem that went all the way to the end. This guy is unbelievable. I see his videos put up all the time. I really hope he can do something special and surprise everybody. So good luck,
That's
Eric,
awesome.
and good luck, Jaden.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for our show. Remember, go to Bovada, hit our QR code. That's going to appear right on the screen. 100% right now on your first deposit, which means if you put 100, you'll get 200, 200, you'll get 400, 400, you'll get 800, 1200, you'll get 2400, and so on and so on and so on your first deposit. Bet on almost anything like the presidential election. If you like a Trump, you hit a Trump. You hit anything. If you want Speedy to run, vote for Spitty and put some money on it. Please don't. You can withdraw from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. We're not going to do Speedy After Dark because we had a long show. That's it.
You did it enough with Deven already.
No limitations on what state you are in. You can bet anywhere. All you have to do is click the link in the corner. All right. That's it. Thank you to Fish. Great graphics, great content, as always. Our executive producers, thank you to Scoops, doing a sports minute, adding some content to the show. Speedy being Speedy, the hard work that he puts in and producing and co-hosting the show. And I don't thank myself because I can't thank myself. And if I could, I wouldn't. Oh, my God. Thank you to our guest, Deven Marrero, for joining us. I got it right there. Also, Daniel Stumpf for joining us as well. He was fantastic as well. And thank you to everybody, all the fans out there, Keith calling the show, and just everybody. Keep listening to us and listen to the Weekend Crunch on 103.9 FM on Saturday at 7 p.m. If you don't live here, just go to LI News Radio or iHeartRadio and look up LI News Radio, and you can check us out. There you go. I'm calling out Brandon Rooney, wherever he is, hiding under a rock or under, somebody else's rock, Well, maybe we'll beat him with a rock. I like to do that. Anyways, yeah. Thank you to all the fans. We'll be back next week on Tuesday. Good night.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.